Pokémon, trainer of divine pets. Hey, fanfic family. So glad to see you here again to continue this incredible adventure. As always, kindly remember, this story is 100% fiction, so don't go looking for dimensional portals in your closet. All rights to this fantastic novel belong to the original author. We're just your humble narrators of epic tales. Are you enjoying the fanfic? Show it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and dropping us a like. And if you're impatient for more exclusive content, our Patreon is your happy place. Chapter 351 Obtain the Cliffside Badge. Is it about to evolve? May said, looking at the baby Tyrannosaurus emitting a white light. She hadn't expected the baby Tyrannosaurus to evolve so quickly, as if Chakro had planned it all along. Come on, Xihen said with a smile. Now it would be even more difficult for Ash to defeat Chakro. Xihen wasn't worried that his Infernape wouldn't be able to beat this newly evolved baby Tyrannosaurus. After a flash of white light, the baby Tyrannosaurus finally evolved into Jagras, letting out an excited roar to unleash its newfound power. Chakro was also excited. This was his first Jagras. However, when Jagras excitedly looked at Xihen, ready to fight, he paused for a moment. Xihen was laughing, and not only Xihen was laughing, but Infernape was also laughing, seemingly not intimidated by its newfound power. Mr. Chaklo, I don't know what makes you so confident, but I am the Sinnoh champion. If it's because you just defeated Violet and became Grand Duke, or because your strongest Pokémon has finally evolved, you should understand that the person standing in front of you is not someone to be trifled with, Xihen said with a cold laugh. Did Chaklo really expect a newly evolved Tyranitar to defeat his Infernape? He must be dreaming, Xihen could only say. Hearing Xihen's words, Chaklo lost his earlier arrogance. Tyranitar stepped onto the battlefield, and Chaklo prepared for the battle with a serious expression. Infernape, Flame Impact. Now that the Gadgetson was back on the field, Xihen didn't waste any more time with it. Infernape, enveloped in blue flames, charged towards the Gadgetson. Gadgetson, use Charge. The Gadgetson used Charge to meet Infernape's Flame Impact. Perhaps due to Gadgetson's type, the two were evenly matched, but the Gadgetson took slightly more damage. After all, Infernape had a level advantage. Quick Attack followed by Close Combat. Infernape quickly adjusted, using Quick Attack to collide with a Gadgetson, followed by another Close Combat combo. Gadgetson, use Earthquake. After and during a Close Combat combo, the Gadgetson used Earthquake, which indeed caused significant damage to Infernape. If Xihen hadn't been playing around, he would have quickly finished a battle with Greninja as his second Pokémon. Who knew that his baby Tyrannosaurus would suddenly evolve into Gadgetson? What a hassle. Luckily, Fighting type is super effective against Rock type, otherwise it would have been really troublesome. Finish him off with a barrage of close-range attacks. Xihen didn't want to waste any more time. If they had health bars, the Tyranitar had 1/5 left, and the Infernape had half. The outcome was already decided. Infernape charged in and unleashed a flurry of attacks on the Tyranitar. Seeing it was about to collapse, it kicked it away, sending it crashing into the wall. Then, it finished it off with a Hyper Beam. Tyranitar is unable to battle. Infernape wins. Therefore, the winner is Challenger Xihen. The referee announced the result after seeing the Tyranitar unable to battle, and Xihen received the Cliff Badge. Oh dear, such a clean defeat, Chaklo recalled the Tyranitar with some regret. This guy had just evolved and already lost the battle. It was really demoralizing. When the monstrous Raphosaurus evolved, it really startled me. May was the most cheerful person in Xihen's group, so she gave Chaklo a way out to avoid making him feel awkward. Now it's my turn, Mr. Chaklo. May said to Chaklo with a grin. Alright, let's go. Chaklo was full of energy again, accepting May's challenge. It was still a 2-on-2 battle. Actually, in the original story, Chaklo used 2 Pokémon to fight all of Ash's Pokémon. If Xihen knew this, she would have to admire Ash's powerful protagonist aura and how weak Ash's strength was. The video of Ash challenging Chaklo is no longer available. This is information from the internet. Chaklo made Ash use all his Pokémon, while he himself only used 2 to accept Ash's challenge. Chaklo's first Pokémon was Geodude, and May's first Pokémon was Pancham. Pancham is also a fighting-type Pokémon, and with Pancham's full training, it naturally defeated Geodude. Chaklo's second Pokémon was another baby Tyranitar. After seeing May and the others' reactions, Chaklo smiled and said that he had 4 baby Tyranitars, 1 evolved and 3 were still left. These were Pokémon revived from fossils found in the cave. Then May's mischievous panda was defeated by baby Tyranitar. Next, May took out her strongest Pokemon besides Xihen Ninetales, Superior. Superior was no match for Ninetales, of course. Grass-type is super effective against Rock-type, but it still took May a long time to finally win the battle and obtain the Cliff Badge. Mr. Cheklo, I have something to tell you. After the battle, Xihen said to Cheklo. Haha, it's about baby Tyranitar, right? I know, you don't need to say anything, come with me, Cheklo said with a smile. It seemed he knew what Xihen wanted to say. Xihen and the others followed Cheklo to the depths of the gym, where there were many of Cheklo's rock-type Pokemon. 2 baby Tyranitar were in a cave in the rock wall. These are them, you can choose one. If they follow you, they will also gain great power. Cheklo walked over and patted the heads of the 2 baby Tyranitar. One baby Tyranitar looked shy, it seemed that shyness was its nature. Xihen decisively looked at the other one. The baby Tyrannosaurus remained expressionless even after being patted on the head by Cheklo. It seemed this guy had a calm personality. He'll do, Xihen said, walking over to the calm baby Tyrannosaurus. Is that alright, Mr. Cheklo? Xihen patted the baby Tyrannosaurus's head. Of course, here's his Pokeball. Cheklo climbed the wall, retrieved a Pokeball, and handed it to Xihen. Xihen sighed, the way this guy put his Pokeball was really peculiar. Nice to meet you, baby Tyrannosaurus. Xihen held out the Pokeball to the baby Tyrannosaurus, which nodded and went into the Pokeball on its own. Quite obedient, this little guy. Then the group left the depths of the gym and reached the main entrance. I'll take good care of the baby Tyrannosaurus. You'll see him shine in the Kalos League, okay? I believe you'll train him to be an excellent Pokemon, Cheklo replied to Xihen. Let's go eat, Mr. Cheklo, please join us. It was already past lunchtime, and Xihen and the others hadn't even eaten before coming over. Just as Cheklo was about to agree, 4 figures appeared in their line of sight. Looks like I can't go. The gym is so busy today, Cheklo said with a hint of regret. The 4 people were none other than Ash, Serena, Hitler, and Eureka. Chapter 352 On the way to Sarah City. After successfully obtaining their 3rd badge, the Cliff Badge, and acquiring a baby Tyrannosaurus Rex that Xihen found appealing, Xihen and his companions set off for their next gym, the Sala Gym in Sala City. Baby Tyrannosaurus Rex is really strong after evolving. May discussed Tyrannosaurus Rex with Xihen along the way. Yet, the Pokédex says Tyrannosaurus Rex is also called Tyrannosaurus Rex, the strongest Pokémon from 100 million years ago. Even after becoming a fossil and awakening, its power is still immense. Xihen showed May the information about Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Pokédex, but unfortunately, Xihen's Pokémon was still just baby Tyrannosaurus Rex. Moreover, 100 million years ago, in Xihen's world, was the Cretaceous period, and Tyrannosaurus Rex was essentially equivalent to Tyrannosaurus Rex. Also, Xihen discovered something interesting, all his Pokémon underwent 2 evolutions. For example, Noivern to Noivern, Pancham to Pancham, baby Tyrannosaurus Rex to Tyrannosaurus Rex. It seems that in the Kalos region, apart from the starter Pokémon, all Pokémon undergo 2 evolutions. Is this a unique feature of the Kalos region? Actually, the author probably didn't bother with the multiple evolutions after Mega Evolution. The next gym leader is Corna, a fighting-type gym leader. She has a very strong Lucario that can Mega Evolve. You're in for a treat. Gadrillia checked Corna's information while May was looking at information about Tyrannosaurus Rex and told Xihen. Really? Once we get to Sala City, I'll teleport Lucario over so it can have some fun too? Xihen smiled, not really caring. Lucario hadn't seen him in ages. All was at the Divine Feather Gym. Speaking of which, it's only a few days until Netch turns 10, and she'll be going on a trip. The gym leader position needs to be arranged soon. After returning the Pokédex to Xihen, May released Naughty Panda and hugged it, saying it was soft and comfortable to hold, before going to play with it. Xihen chatted with Gradelia behind them, their bond growing stronger. Hearing Gadalia's laughter from behind, May sighed helplessly. Sigh, I really can't do anything with this girl, she thought. Now I'll have another sister. Sala City was still some distance from Xiaoyao City, requiring them to cross a mountain. Xihen and the others were currently walking along a mountain path. Climbing a mountain was physically demanding for Gradelia, and even with her superpowers allowing her to cheat, her mental strength couldn't hold up. Reluctantly, Xihen had to carry Gradelia up the mountain. May was unhappy about this and insisted that Xihen carry her too. Greninja, give me your shadow clone technique, Xihen cried out in despair. Greninja, inside its Pokeball, sighed helplessly. I'd like to teach you. Finally, after much persuasion from Xihen, May reluctantly agreed to let Panda carry her up the mountain. What an unconvincing little girl. Panda, cough cough. Gadria coughed twice on Xihen's back. She had been exhausted and fallen asleep on Xihen's back, so when she coughed, Xihen turned to look at her. She hadn't woken up yet, but her face was flushed and she looked uncomfortable. Xihen quickly put Gadria down and leaned her against a rock. What's wrong? May also jumped off Panda's shoulders. May was quite thin, so she could sit comfortably on Panda's shoulders. It's so hot, Xihen touched Gadria's forehead. The young lady had a fever. She was fine before. What happened all of a sudden? It's just that she overused her psychic powers. Let's prepare some food first. It's already past 6, time to eat. I'll have Rogue Panda prepare your things. I'll stay here and take care of Gadria. This is a mountain top, a very high place. Once we get down, we'll see Sura City. It looks like stargazing here tonight would be nice. Rogue Panda, why me again? Okay, there was no other way. May could only prepare some food that Gadria could eat in her current state to make her feel better. None of the three of them had any medicine with them. Gadria only had her pajamas, a tent, and a Pokeball. They could only try to get to Sura City quickly tomorrow morning. Although Xihen really wanted Gardevoir to use teleport to get there, Gadria's condition probably couldn't handle it. May quickly prepared dinner. Xihen had originally intended to feed Gadria, but ultimately gave the meal to May. After eating, Xihen went to set up the tent. The mischievous panda picked up Gadria and placed her inside. Xihen and May sat on the hilltop, enjoying the breeze and gazing at the stars. It's been so long since we've done this, May said, leaning against Xihen. Yeah, it's been so long. Indeed, it had been a long time since May and Xihen had spent time alone together like this. Hey, I feel like I'm acting weird lately, May said after a long pause, snuggling closer to Xihen. Strange? No, Xihen looked at May in his arms, not finding anything strange about her. Sometimes during battles, I feel like I'm not even fighting myself, May said, pausing for a moment before continuing. Sometimes I feel like the battle ends as soon as I zone out, and sometimes I suddenly want to change my fighting style, May sighed. It feels like I'm not myself anymore. Xihen didn't speak, remembering that May sometimes did use Anriel's, one of May's separated souls, fighting style. Could it be that the two of them hadn't completely merged yet? Also, what did May mean by the battle ending as soon as she zoned out? Xihen watched every battle May fought, and she was always fighting seriously, never zoning out during battles. Right, Xihen suddenly looked up, remembering something. Xihen had only found 2 souls at the time, one was May, and the other was Anriel. The third soul was still comforting the Bell Force. Could it be that a third soul had escaped? What's wrong? May was startled by Xihen's reaction. No, nothing. Xihen looked at May and shook his head. When did this happen? He hadn't even noticed the third soul appear. Cough cough, Xihen was thinking when Gadria coughed twice more in the tent. Xihen and May stood up and went over. You go and rest first, I'll take care of her. Xihen patted May's little head and said with a smile. Okay, little May lowered her head and went into Xihen's tent to sleep. Xihen sighed, had Greninja wet a towel, then went into May's tent, placed the towel on Gadria's head, and sat down next to her. Who knew that the aloof Gadria of the Unova Elite Four would be like a child when she was sick, even biting her nails? The usually aloof Gadria had such a cute side. Xihen kept changing Gadria's towels and took care of her all night. Chapter 353 Heading to the Solo Dojo. At dawn, Gadria groaned, stretching, and realized someone was pulling her hand. Looking down, she saw the towel on her head had fallen onto her. She then saw Xihen lying on the floor, holding her hand. Judging from his appearance, he had just fallen asleep. Had he been taking care of her all night? Gadria thought, picking up the towel from her clothes. Looking at Xihen lying on the floor with mixed feelings, she wanted to cover him with her blanket, but Xihen's grip on her hand tightened. Don't be afraid. I'm here. Xihen didn't wake up, but he said this. It was because last night, Gadria had started moving around restlessly, saying she was very scared and begging someone not to leave. Xihen held her hand and comforted her until she gradually calmed down. This happened every now and then, It was the first time Xihen had experienced how difficult it was to care for a patient. He was busy until morning when Gedalia finally calmed down, and Xihen had just fallen asleep when Gedalia woke up. Gedalia was stunned, tears welling in her eyes. Since childhood, whenever she overused her superpowers and fainted, she would develop a high fever. Her parents had always taken care of her like this when she was little. No one had ever cared for her like this before. She knew she had this problem, and only her parents could comfort her like this. Now, there was someone else who could. Tears dripped onto Xihen's face. Xihen squinted, then rubbed his eyes and sat up. Greninja, change the water. Xihen hadn't even noticed that Gedalia was awake. Master, she's awake. Greninja walked in from outside the tent. He hadn't slept well all night either. Hearing Greninja's words, Xihen finally realized that Gedalia was up. You're awake. Hey, Xihen looked at Gadria and saw her crying. Just as he was about to say something, Gadria threw herself into Xihen's arms and hugged him tightly, then began to sob on his shoulder. Xihen was startled for a moment, then hugged Gadria back, patting her back like comforting a child. It's alright, it's good that you're okay. Gadria stopped crying while still hugging Xihen. Xihen gently pushed Gadria up and wiped away her tears. Why are you crying? You don't look good, don't cry. Gadria smiled after Xihen wiped away her tears. You look pretty good like this. I'm going to sleep for a while, I'm so sleepy, Xihen said, lying down next to Gadria. Gadria covered Xihen with a blanket and ran out to wash her face. May had actually been woken up by the commotion, but she stayed in the tent and didn't go out. She was Xihen's first woman, and in her heart, as long as Xihen was with her, that was enough. As long as Xihen didn't leave her, May wouldn't care what he did. After a while, May got up, washed up, and started preparing breakfast with Gedalia. May noticed that Gedalia was more cheerful and smiling, and even took the initiative to start conversations with her. During this time, Gedalia even suggested learning to cook from May, wanting to cook for Xihen. May could only helplessly accept. Sigh, since her resurrection, Xihen has had so many women. Cynthia, Kiku, Gedalia, what a womanizer. Getting Gedalia to learn to cook was a very difficult task. The two of them skipped breakfast and worked until noon. With May's help, Gedalia finally cooked for the first time. Just then, Xihen woke up and ate the food Gedalia had made. Xihen immediately realized that it wasn't May's cooking. How to put it? Did you put sugar in the salt? Did you put in too much soy sauce? Xihen immediately realized that this was Gadria wanting to thank him for learning to cook from May, and that the little girl May, with her own ambitions, hadn't even pointed out Gadria's mistake in the seasonings, intending to trick Xihen. In fact, Xihen just swallowed Gadria's food, wolfing it down quickly. Since he was going to eat anyway, he might as well finish it fast. Gadria thought Xihen ate so fast because he thought it was delicious, but May was secretly laughing. Actually, she could have added more soy sauce, she just wanted to trick Xihen. After finishing, Xihen calmly said, next time, make sure you get the salt and sugar right. Oh, Gadria pouted, even May was stunned, she was just too cute. After packing, Xihen and his group headed to Sala City. They expected to arrive before tonight. As for the gym battle, they decided to postpone it until tomorrow. It wouldn't be appropriate to disturb the gym battle so late. Along the way, Gedalia and May chatted endlessly. May finally felt that traveling with Gedalia wasn't so boring anymore. Gedalia, when she was cheerful, was actually a really nice girl. Gedalia also told May that she liked cute things, like Meowth, so the Meowth was constantly being pinched and squeezed. In the evening, the three arrived in Sala City, found a hotel, had a late dinner, and prepared for bed. Xihen was indeed quite sleepy, and May had woken up early. Gedalia was the closest to him, chatting with a half-asleep Xihen by the bedside until late at night before finally going to sleep. The next day, they woke up early, refreshed, and ordered breakfast, waiting for Xihen and May to wake up. After breakfast, the three went to the beach. Sala City is said to be a city in the Kalos region with stunning sea views, similar to Seaside City in Sinnoh. Under Xihen's development, Seaside City has become world-renowned, and Xihen is a strong contender for the next mayor. The scenery was indeed beautiful. Even in the morning, the beach was crowded. After strolling along the beach, Xihen and his group headed to the Pokémon Center. Xihen had obtained Lucario. According to Nikki, Lucario had just finished a gym battle, mercilessly defeating the challenger who looked down on Nikki as a child and wanted to become a gym leader. making the challenger apologize. With Lucario in hand, the three went to the solid gym. The gym leader was there, and a gym battle began. The battle rules were 3-on-3, and only the challenger could change Pokémon. Seeing that the challenger was Xihen, Korrina was very excited, a battle against the Sinnoh champion. She had been looking forward to it ever since she heard that Xihen had come to the Kalos region. Korrina's outfit was predominantly white and red, with long, beige hair. She wore a rollerblading helmet, from which her hair cascaded. The rollerblades she wore were her everyday mobility tool. She had her keystone embedded in her left glove, and even wore rollerblades during battles. Master Xihen, I've been looking forward to our battle. Let's begin. This is my first Pokémon, Go, Machoke. Korrina's first Pokémon was Machoke. It was surprising that such a playful girl liked a Pokémon like Machoke. Looking forward to it is one thing, but don't disappoint me. Go, Rogue. Xihen decided to send Rogue into the battle as his first Pokémon. This was also Xihen's first battle with Rogue, and both Xihen and Rogue were determined to win. Challenger Xihen vs Gym Leader Korrina. Battle begins. Chapter 354, The Dojo Challenge is in progress. Go, Pandaren, use Power Punch. Xihen launched the first attack, Pandaren charging forward and using Power Punch on Machamp. Machamp, use Power Punch to counter. Korrina's Machamp also used Power Punch to meet Pandaren head-on. The two strong arms collided, and for a moment, neither could gain the upper hand. Pandaren, Baton Toss, oh no, use Push. Pandaren flipped its arm and grabbed Machamp's arm, while Machamp flipped its arm again and pushed away Pandaren, who was about to use Baton Toss. The two Pokémon were like Tai Chi practitioners. Not bad, quick reaction, Xihen smiled and casually praised, then continued the attack. Pandaren, keep going, use Chain Punch. Pandaren's level was higher than Machamp's, and both were fighting-type Pokémon. As long as they kept fighting head-on like this, Xihen would win. Machine Pistol, Multi-Punch. Korrina was clearly a fierce woman, otherwise, why would she choose a fighting-type Pokémon? So, Machine Pistol used Multi-Punch to face off against Rogue Pandaren. The two Pokémon began to fight, both sustaining injuries of varying degrees, but Machine Pistol was more severely damaged. Rogue Pandaren and Machine Pistol retreated simultaneously, panting heavily. Rogue Pandaren, Machine Pistol, use Bulk Up, Xihen and Korrina shouted at the same time. Rogue Pandaren and Machine Pistol simultaneously used Bulk Up, increasing their attack and defense, still panting heavily. Machine Pistol, Double Chop, this time, Korrina took the initiative to attack, and Machine Pistol used Double Chop to charge at Rogue Pandaren. Panda, used the over-the-shoulder throw. Oh no, it was too late to get Machamp back. Korrina could only think of the word oh no. The next moment, Panda grabbed Machamp's hands and threw him away. Well done, Flying Knee. Yuki wouldn't let this opportunity pass. Panda used a Flying Knee to slam it hard into Machamp on the ground. A Flying Knee, if it hits, deals significant damage. Take him down, Hyper Beam, quick, use Dig. At this critical moment, Korrina's calm judgment was truly remarkable. Machamp used Dig to dodge Panda's Hyper Beam and then emerged from under Panda to deliver a punch to the immobilized Panda. Grab him. Another over-the-shoulder throw, Xihen shouted again. The Pandaren, which was flying backward, opened its eyes, grabbed Machamp's hand as it tried to pull it back, and executed an over-the-shoulder throw, Hyper Beam. This time, the Hyper Beam hit Machamp perfectly, finally rendering it unable to battle. Machamp is unable to battle, Pandaren wins, the referee announced. Phew. Just a little bit more, Korrina recalled Machamp, saying with a hint of regret. Very good, you were able to counter-attack in that situation. Come back and rest, Pandaren. Xihen smiled and praised Korrina again, recalling Pandaren. She had almost been defeated by the little girl. This was her first battle with Pandaren. The last one was Hitrit, a robot, so it doesn't count. Thank you for the compliment. Next up is him. Go, Battlebird. Korrina took out her second Pokémon, Battlebird. Fighting Bird. Xihen had never seen this Pokémon before. In his previous life, he hadn't even finished reading the later parts of the series before being brought to this world. Now, arriving in the Kalos region felt like entering a new continent. This was the true joy of traveling to see new Pokémon, wasn't it? Xihen was beginning to understand why Ash was so excited after catching a new Pokémon. Fighting Bird, a wrestling Pokémon, a fighting flying type. It uses its wings to control its posture in the air, launching attacks from above, which are difficult to defend against. Despite its small size, it possesses techniques that allow it to fight on par with larger Pokémon like Machamp and Mighty King. This little guy has such great strength. Xihen flipped through the Pokédex again. But it seems it can't evolve any further. Let's go, Squidward. Xihen took out Squidward as his second Pokémon. The gym battle at the last gym had promised to send Squidward, but it didn't happen. This was a kind of compensation. Psychic powers. This is a bit tricky. Korrina also thought that Squidward looked troublesome, but she would soon find out that Xihen Squidward was more than just troublesome in appearance. Battle Bird, Lightning Strike. Last time, Xihen made the first move, but this time it was Korrina's turn. The Battle Bird was incredibly fast. Its wings spread like a wind blade as it slashed towards the evil squid. Psychic interference? Neither Xihen nor the evil squid panicked. In fact, the evil squid waited until the Battle Bird was right in front of it before using psychic interference to grab it. At this moment, the Battle Bird's body was frozen less than a centimeter away from the evil squid, unable to move. The evil squid lowered its head, its eyes fixed on the Battle Bird, and revealed a smile that sent chills down one's spine. Such strong mental power. Korrina was also stunned. This squid's mental power was too strong, actually controlling Battlebird at such a close distance. Move faster, Battlebird. Although Korrina shouted this, Battlebird still couldn't move. It's no use. This guy has a mind and mental power that are even more dangerous than humans. Battlebird can't break free. Throw him away. That squid's previous plan to change the world had even started to be implemented. Even if ordinary people had the idea of changing the world, they couldn't carry it out. Wait a minute, would ordinary people have the idea of changing the world? The squid suddenly threw Battlebird against the wall, and at the same time, it spontaneously followed up with a shadow ball. Xihen frowned. This wasn't because it was cooperating well with him, just like he and Infernape. There was no reason why the squid could clearly know what he wanted to do after only a few battles. So the shadow ball was purely the squid's behavior of disobeying the trainer's command. However, the battle had to continue. Korrina didn't care about the squid attacking on its own. She had watched all of Xihen's matches and believed that what had just happened was simply a coordinated attack between Squid and Xihen. Battlebird. Are you alright? Battlebird emerged from the smoke, rubbing his head. It hurts so much. Although he said that, he shook his head at Korrina to indicate that he was fine and could continue fighting. I need to think of something. Korrina felt like she was challenging a gym, as if Xihen was the gym leader, even though Xihen was indeed the leader of the Divine Feather Gym. Squid, illusion slash. Although Korrina tried to think of a solution, Xihen wouldn't give her a chance. Xihen let Squid continue attacking, and Korrina didn't have time to think further. Dodge and then use spin attack. Battlebird nimbly dodged Squid's illusion slash and used spin attack to charge at Squid. Chapter 355 Lucario vs. Lucario. Ouch! The squid was caught off guard and was hit by the Battlebird's back and forth attack. However, the squid quickly used Psychic to grab the Battlebird, bringing it to its side. It then used its favorite hypnosis technique, making the Battlebird repeatedly bang its head against the wall. Xihen's expression grew increasingly grim. None of these actions were what Xihen had ordered. Xihen was puzzled. Why was the squid so out of control? Level? Impossible. Could a champion's level not control a squid? Xihen dared to say that soon, even wild Pokémon would obey his commands, let alone the squid that had become his Pokémon. Stop! Xihen's voice was cold. The squid paused, stopping its actions. The Battlebird collapsed to the ground, unable to battle. Before the referee could speak, Xihen spoke first. I lose this match. You can use another Pokémon. It did all that itself. Xihen recalled the squid, indicating that he had forfeited the match. This is the Squidward disobedient. Korrina recalled her Battlebird, a little embarrassed. I don't know, it's just too human-like. That was the only way Xihen could describe the Squidward. It really was too human-like, ambitious and independent. Enough talk, let's continue. This is the last Pokémon we've been talking about. Let's go, Lucario. Xihen smiled and took out Lucario. It's Lucario. Korrina's eyes lit up, forgetting everything that had just happened. She took out a Pokéball. This is my Lucario, and I set a goal with it to win 100 consecutive battles. Korrina laughed as she threw the Pokéball, and the two Lucarios faced each other on the field. Finally, the main event. Mei and Ghidorah were also eager to see this battle. Xihen hadn't fought at full strength in a long time. This time, Korrina's Lucario would surely make Xihen take it seriously. Mega Evolution. Korrina and Xihen simultaneously raised their hands. Korrina's Mega Key was on her glove, and Xihen's Mega Key was on her ring. Two beams of light shot from their hands, splitting into four rays that connected to the Mega Stone on Lucario's wristband. Xihen's Lucario wristband also had a Mega Stone attached, as did all of Xihen's other Pokémon. Quick Attack, Extreme Speed. Korrina attacked first, her Lucario using Quick Attack, while Xihen's Lucario used Extreme Speed. The two flashes combined, and Korrina's Lucario, or rather Quick Attack, was slightly at a disadvantage. Both Lucarius then drew their bone clubs and used Bone Attack on each other, beginning their battle with bone clubs. Their teamwork is also very strong. Korrina's Lucario and Xihen's Lucario had attacked autonomously without their trainer's commands, and now the two Lucarius were locked in a fierce battle with their bone clubs. Lucario, Power. Korrina changed her move and launched a new attack. Lucario, First Strike. Xihen immediately had Lucario use this move. Many people might not know this move. It allows you to use the opponent's move before they do and increases its power. However, if the opponent uses their move first, this move will fail. Xihen's Lucario successfully used First Strike, using power before Korrina's Lucario and increasing its power. Korrina's Lucario was blasted away, but quickly jumped back up. Aura Sphere. Xihen's Lucario and Korrina's Lucario used Aura Spheres simultaneously. The Aura Spheres combined and disappeared, their power equal. Miss Korrina's Lucario is also very strong. That power move was so powerful, and it jumped up so quickly. Mei and Katlia watched their battle and chatted from above. There's something between Korrina and his Lucario that Xihen and Lucario lack, Ghidorah said seriously, looking at the field. Evolving from Rylu to Lucario requires a high level of affinity between the Pokémon and its trainer. You told me before that Lucario evolved when Xihen caught it. Although it's hard to explain how it could evolve without a trainer, Xihen and Lucario are indeed missing a lot. Mei had told Ghidorah about Xihen catching Lucario when Ghidorah saw it before, and Mei died once at that time. Then, evolving from Lucario to Mega Lucario requires a very strong bond. Korrina and her Lucario came all the way from Rylu. If Korrina's Lucario is a complete Mega Evolution, then Xihen's Lucario is a half-finished Mega Evolution. At this point, Ghidorah paused. In other words, Xihen might lose. Mei herself couldn't believe it when she said it. Xihen losing? Are you kidding me? Lucario, use Extreme Speed. Xihen's Lucario used Extreme Speed, knocking Korrina's Lucario away. Korrina's Lucario quickly used Extreme Speed to counterattack under Korrina's command. The two Lucarius landed and used Aura Sphere to hit each other again before disappearing. Metal Claws. Korrina launched another attack, finally feeling like she had regained her home turf. She'd been bullied by Xihen Squid earlier, but now, with Lucario, she finally felt at home. Actually, Mega Evolution wasn't used in gym battles. However, Korrina had seen so many Mega Evolution keys on Xihen, he certainly wouldn't care about her Mega Evolution. Korrina herself had always wanted her Lucario to have a proper battle with Xihen. Dark Pulse. Xihen began to maneuver around Korrina. He had considered the same thing as Caitlin and Mei, but he still felt he had a good chance of winning. Dark Pulse attacked Lucario, who reluctantly used Metal Claws to block it. The shockwave from Dark Pulse spread outwards, and the referee quickly retreated to a slightly farther distance. In all his years at the gym, this was the first time he'd witnessed such an intense battle. A powerful strike. The two Lucarius clashed again with their bone clubs, exchanging blows more than a dozen times in just 3 seconds. The speed was incredible. The two bone clubs collided and remained motionless, locked in a fierce struggle. Both Lucarius were panting heavily, clearly exhausted. Miss Korrina's Lucario is incredibly strong, Xihen thought to himself. If Korrina's Lucario was so powerful, how did Ash even win? The protagonist's plot armor was way too much? Xihen's Lucario is also very strong, Korrina remarked. She noticed something missing between Xihen and his Lucario, yet it could still fight her to this extent. Truly worthy of being the Sinnoh champion, Xihen. Who? While the two owners chatted, the two Lucarius exchanged a glance, as if by telepathy, reducing their grip and letting out a sigh of relief. Pretending to fight? Chapter 356 Lucario, battle over. Slide, then use an over-the-shoulder throw. Xihen commanded. Xihen's Lucario used Slide, Corina's Lucario missed its target, and Xihen's Lucario grabbed its arm and executed an over-the-shoulder throw. Stomp, Slide. Just as Xihen's Lucario was about to use Stomp on Corina's Lucario actually slid while lying flat on the ground, dodging Xihen's Lucario's Stomp, and jumped to its feet. Quick Attack, then Double Kick. Corina quickly countered, using Quick Attack on Xihen's Lucario, followed by a Double Kick, sending Xihen's Lucario flying. Xihen's Lucario regained its balance and used a backflip to dissipate the force of Corina's Lucario's attack. How long is this going to last? What about my gym battle? May watched the two Mega Lucarius going back and forth, feeling quite helpless. It seemed her gym battle was hopeless today. It should be over soon, both Lucarius are exhausted. Gadria hugged May to comfort her. However, May's gym battle was indeed out for today. Corina would also be very tired after the battle, so May's gym battle would have to be postponed to tomorrow. Metal Claw, Bone Strike. Xihen's Lucario used Metal Claw, and Corina's Lucario used Bone Strike. The two Lucarius clashed, Metal Claw and Bone Strike going toe-to-toe. However, after being blocked by Bone Club, Xihen's Lucario used Metal Claw on its other hand, injuring Corina's Lucario. Now, Corina's Lucario's injuries were more serious than Xihen's. Huff, huff, the two Lucarius knelt on the ground, panting heavily. While Corina's Lucario wasn't yet at the top level 100, neither was Xihen's. Xihen's Lucario was also a wild Qua Pokémon, not from his previous life, otherwise, he would have already defeated Corina's Lucario. Just as both were trying to break the stalemate, an unexpected event occurred. Neither Lucario could maintain their Mega Evolution and reverted to ordinary Lucarius. Fortunately, both reverted back, otherwise the outcome would have been decided. Corina's strength was enhanced by me, they're back, they no longer had the strength to maintain their Mega Evolution forms. Corina's Lucario was injured and lacked the strength, while Xihen's was because he doubted Lucario's strength and couldn't maintain Mega Evolution anymore, Gadria explained. Indeed, Xihen had doubted Lucario's strength and needed to train it properly. Lucario, try a little harder. We have a better chance of winning this situation, Xihen said to Lucario. Lucario nodded, finally taking a breath and standing up. Corina's Lucario was still catching its breath. However, Xihen wasn't going to let it rest like that. Aura Sphere, Xihen immediately launched an attack. Roll to dodge, and use Aura Sphere to counter. Aura Spheres weren't so easy to dodge, and Corina, as Lucario's trainer, knew this. So she had Lucario roll, and then used Aura Sphere to collide with it. Both Aura Spheres disappeared. Extreme Speed, Xihen's Lucario used Extreme Speed first, and Corina quickly used Extreme Speed to counter. The two Lucarius collided, and because of Corina's Lucario's injuries, its Extreme Speed was at a disadvantage. It was knocked down and created a large crater in the ground. Aura Sphere, Xihen's Lucario followed up with another Aura Sphere. Lucario, Corina panicked, yelling for Lucario. A moment later, the smoke cleared, and Lucario staggered to his feet from the crater. Give him the final blow. Spirit Strike, Xihen waved his hand, and Lucario charged forward with its Bone Club. We won't lose. Lucario, Spirit Strike, Corina shouted. At that moment, Xihen seemed to feel the charm of Pokémon battles once again. Never give up. Bang! With a loud crash, the two Bone Clubs clashed. Corina's Lucario roared, its body radiating light. Its power actually suppressed Xihen's Lucario, suddenly transforming into Mega Evolution. Corina's Lucario had actually Mega Evolved once again because of Corina's will. Corina's Lucario, which had suppressed Xihen's Lucario, swung its Bone Club, sending Xihen's Lucario flying, followed by a double kick. The Lucario that had kicked Xihen away stood bent over, panting heavily. Lucario, Corina was deeply moved by this sight. She hadn't expected her Lucario to Mega Evolve again at this moment. Xihen's Lucario was slammed into the wall, creating a cloud of smoke. For a moment, no one knew what had happened to Lucario, but after a few moments, Corina's Lucario showed a relaxed expression and collapsed to the ground. Xihen knew then that his Lucario had also lost its battle ability. Sure enough, when the smoke cleared, Xihen's Lucario was indeed unable to battle. Lucario has also lost its battle ability. The referee wanted to say something, but hesitated, unsure how to respond. Earlier, the Squidward had defeated the Battlebird, and Xihen had said Corina could use another Pokémon. I lost, Xihen recalled as Lucario, experiencing his first defeat. So this is what it feels like to lose. It's been so long since I've lost. The last time I lost was when I and Garkemp were defeated by Cynthia. Did Xihen lose? May had never seen Xihen lose to anyone before. Yet, Squid was too uncontrollable. Gadrian knew it was because of the Squid incident, but Xihen seemed quite happy about losing. What's wrong with him? That's right, Xihen was smiling even though he lost. This gym battle was really enjoyable. It had been a long time since he'd had such a satisfying battle. Here you go, Korina recalled Lucario, ran to Xihen, and held out her hand, revealing a badge, a gym badge. Is it okay? Xihen asked tentatively. Korina nodded. Of course, but I lost, Korina didn't answer immediately. She turned around and looked at the mess behind her, the cratered walls and ground, then turned back to Xihen and said, the gym is for testing trainers' skills. I don't think the trainer who almost destroyed my gym shouldn't get the badge. Korina handed the badge to Xihen again. Seeing the mess, Xihen felt a little embarrassed, but he still accepted the badge. Okay. I'll cover the gym's repair costs, haha, no need. The Kalos League will cover these costs. You, as a gym leader, don't know these things, really? Xihen really didn't know. What he didn't know was that because his Pokémon were so destructive, the battlefield would be shattered every time they fought. The Unova League had spent a lot of money repairing the Divine Feather Gym Tisk. Chapter 357 Pokémon Summer Camp? You guys said my battles were short. Now I can defeat one in 2 or 3 chapters, hopefully no one will say the battles are long then. Anyway, after getting the gym badge, Xihen and his group, including Korina, went to the Pokémon Center to treat their Pokémon's injuries. Afterwards, Xihen didn't intend to send Lucario back, letting the kid train with him some more. And the Squidward, he definitely had to teach him a lesson. If he was sent to Professor Yamanashi, and the kid hypnotized Professor Yamanashi, causing Professor Yamanashi to release him, and then hypnotize hundreds of Pokémon and take them away, that wouldn't be fun. Miss Korina, I'll have to rely on you for tomorrow's gym battle, give it your all, May said with a grin. Xihen had a bad feeling, this girl was definitely going to use that Pokémon to fight Korina's Mega Lucario. Okay, I'm too tired today, so your battle with me will have to wait until tomorrow, Korina said with a smile, following beside Xihen and his group on her roller skates. It's alright, May replied with a smile to Korina. The gym's repairs had already begun, and Korina, having nothing else to do, took Xihen and the others around Sala City. They bought some daily necessities, food, and water, and considering what happened with Katlia last time, Xihen even bought some medicine. It was already dinner time, so the group ate. After enjoying a meal, Korina recommended a nice hotel to Xihen and the others before returning to her gym that evening. Xihen and Katlia helped May plan her battle. They fielded Rogue, Superior, and Ninetales. Although May wanted to use Anti-E to easily defeat Korina's Mega Lucario, Xihen stopped her. Ninetales was more than enough to deal with a Mega Lucario. Do you remember Ninetales' Hex Explosion? The combined power of the 2 explosions was extremely strong. While it would be difficult against a Steel-type Lucario, it was still a win. The 3 went to sleep late at night. Before going to sleep, Gadria went to Xihen's room. Don't get the wrong idea. She just went to chat? Gadria now talks to Xihen about everything, and Xihen is getting to know Gadria better and better. The next morning, Xihen and his group went to the gym. The gym had been repaired. May and Korina battled. Delacroix was defeated by Korina's Machoke, but Superior defeated Machoke and Battlebird in succession, winning 1 round. In the next battle, Superior was defeated by Lucario due to exhaustion. Ninetales won with difficulty, but was also on the verge of death. Korina, whose 98 win streak was broken by May, was furious and jumped around. Yesterday, Xihen's Lucario and Korina's Lucario fought to a draw, so it didn't count in Korina's match. May was Lucario's 98th opponent, but Lucario was defeated by May's Ninetales. Hey, this is the gym badge. Korina was unhappy that her winning streak had been interrupted, but she still gave the badge to May. Oh, and by the way, give me Ninetales' footprints. Korina suddenly pulled out a somewhat worn-looking notebook. You have to keep them as souvenirs, and your Lucario's footprints too. Are all these Pokémon footprints? Seeing Korina open the notebook, which contained many different footprints. Yes, these are the footprints of Pokémon that I've battled. As Korina spoke, she placed the notebook under Ninetales' feet, lifted Ninetales' paw, placed it on the paint, and then placed it on the notebook. Yuuki reluctantly took out Lucario and had it leave its footprints as well. Afterwards, Yuuki and her group prepared to leave Sola City. The Sola Gym had been badly damaged by May. When Yuuki and her group were about to leave, they met Ash and his friends, who had arrived 2 days later. In the original story, Korina met Ash on his way and battled him, winning 99 out of 100. Then Team Rocket stole Lucario. In Rock Forest Town, Ash and his friends helped Korina find the Lucario stone. However, now that Korina has the stone and Yuuki is challenging the gym, she didn't run away, saving Ash and his friends a lot of time. The next gym is in Seawing City. The gym leader, they call him Old Man Fu, is a grass-type gym. Gedalia always gathers information about gyms before heading there. Grass-type, Fire-type. Infernape, Tisk, I'll use Noivern, Gyarados, and Polyrth to battle them. Although Gyarados is Water-type, it still knows Fire-type moves. With some battle techniques, victory is possible. Noivern has been trained by Camo, so its strength is increasing quickly, making it capable of dealing with some grass-type Pokémon. Polyrth is even easier. I'd used Darmanitan and Ninetales, and, you can't use Entei. Before May could finish speaking, Yuuki and Gadria shouted at the same time. Oh, May lowered her head, looking quite disappointed. Why did this little girl always want to use Entei in battle? On their way to Seawing City, Yuuki and the others encountered a Pokémon summer camp. May definitely wanted to attend, so Yuuki and his group returned to Sola City, the town ahead, and signed up for Professor Syracuse's Pokémon summer camp. They ran into Ash and his friends again, which was quite frustrating. Afterwards, Syracuse assigned Yuuki and the others a small cabin, and it was Team Noibit. Sigh, Yuuki really couldn't feel any interest in the summer camp. He could only treat it as playing with May. Gadria couldn't help but laugh when she saw Yuuki's helpless expression. As for Ash, seeing people battling on the beach, he ran over. A chubby guy with a Squirtle Pokémon named Thierno was there. This chubby guy seemed to know Serena, and another girl who knew her too. They knew her because a girl named Serena appeared in a Pokémon short film they were filming. Serena, eh? Afterwards, because of the short film, they ignored the Pokémon battles and ran to the Pokémon Center. Yuuki and his friends went back to their room. Gadria was playing on her phone, and Yuuki was also playing on his phone, actually video chatting with Cynthia. As for May, she ran out on her own, and who knows how many Pokémon trainers she'll torture, the so-called torture being Pokémon battles. Quite a few Pokémon trainers on the beach were defeated by May. Furthermore, they had known May for a long time. The story of May defeating Unova champion Alder with Entei had gone viral online. Xihen's company and the internet had truly made many people successful. The spread of news online here was almost as fast as the internet in Xihen's previous life. Once a message was sent out, it couldn't be stopped. May quickly became friends with a group of people attending the Pokémon summer camp. Through Ash, she met Deperno, Serena, and Dorothy. These three were a strange childhood friend group, and the chubby Deperno seemed to have a crush on Serena. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358 Summer Camp? Challenge against the Ancient Castle. This is so boring, it's all just kids, Xihen slumped onto the table, exclaiming helplessly. Aren't you a kid yourself? Gadrilia retorted. Hey, you're not a kid anymore, speaking of which, you don't look like a 17 or 18-year-old. You're not that much older than me. Attention everyone, please assemble at the beach immediately. The summer camp opening remarks are about to begin. While Xihen and Gadrilia were bickering, the loudspeaker announced. Let's go. Xihen stood up and headed to the beach. After Syracuse's boring speech, Xihen finally realized that the ultimate goal of this summer camp was to enter the Pokémon summer camp hall? And those three so-called pastry chefs? Aren't they Team Rocket? Their disguise was pretty good this time, except for Meowth's height. Let's get to know each other first. You can freely choose your opponent for a battle. This battle won't count towards the score. 10 points is first place, 7 points is second place, 4 points is third place, there is no fourth. May, can we go? Xihen said helplessly. A battle? No. I'm going to find an opponent, May shouted, shaking her head, and then tried to run away. Everyone, come at me. Xihen pulled out a megaphone from somewhere and shouted. Everyone on the beach fell silent, staring at Xihen. Who's that? How arrogant, shh. Keep your voice down, that's Xihen, the Sinnoh champion. Someone who recognized Xihen covered the mouth of the person next to him. The Sinnoh champion, the Sinnoh champion. He was wearing sunglasses before, I didn't even recognize him. Xihen had been wearing the disguise artifact, sunglasses. With these on, everyone in this world would be completely unrecognizable. Come on, I'll just use one Pokemon, you can take turns. Xihen started looking for trouble because he was bored, and now he'd found himself a great opportunity. Trainers vied to battle Xihen, the Sinnoh champion. Who wouldn't want to battle a champion? Syracuse looked at Xihen helplessly, wondering if letting him join him was the right or wrong thing to do. Xihen started battling one battle after another, occasionally engaging in double battles. He used Infernape in single battles and Infernape and Lucario in double battles. After an afternoon of battling, both Infernape and Lucario were covered in sweat, and Xihen, panting heavily, plopped down on the sofa. He had finally defeated them all, it felt so good. Including Xihen, there were 5 teams in total. The other 4 teams didn't have a single Pokemon, they were all completely defeated by Xihen. The last battle was Infernape against Ash's Pikachu, and it almost lost. Oh dear, this is going to be busy, Nurse Joy smirked as she looked at Almost All, who also looked utterly hopeless. Wow, Infernape and Lucario are so strong, if only we could take them back to Giovanni. No way. We shouldn't mess with that big bastard. Meowth's words finally brought Kajiro and Jessie back to reality. Remembering the countless times they'd been blasted away by Xihen before they could even finish their lines, they swallowed hard. I think Meowth's right, the fishing tournament, originally scheduled for the afternoon, was delayed until the evening because of Xihen's antics. During the evening fishing competition, Godaria secretly used her psychic powers to make a Wailord bite the fishing rod and get caught, giving Xihen's team a perfect score. After a night's rest, the next morning, they went for a run and then went to the restaurant for breakfast. It has to be said, Team Rocket's earnings were pretty good. Xihen glanced at the 3 Team Rocket members, making them feel uneasy. Next, the task for today was to film a Pokemon short film. Just kill Xihen. Why would he be interested in something like this? I believe you, Xihen patted May and Gadria on the shoulders. Where are you going? May asked, seeing that Xihen was about to give up on the matter. I'm using Gardevoir's teleport to go to Seawing City to get the Seawing Gym badge. No? You're too cunning. We have to go together. May immediately stopped Xihen from leaving. How could she let him go first? Then I'll go to the Battle Castle to level up. I'll be back before tonight. Xihen thought for a moment and could only reluctantly compromise. Since this boring Pokemon summer camp was going to last a week, he would just spend a week battling in the Battle Castle and he was sure he could reach Grand Duke. The Battle Castle. Okay, we'll handle it. May thought for a moment and then let go of Xihen's arm. Anyway, Xihen couldn't help with this, so she might as well let him do what he wanted to do. Then I'll be going, Xihen said, taking out Gardevoir and teleporting away. Gadria seemed to want to say something but hadn't had a chance before Xihen left. She wanted to go with Xihen, but leaving May alone didn't seem right. Well then, let's get started. May could cook, and this short video production required culinary skills, so the two of them got busy. Is this really okay, taking so long? Xihen had been at the Battle Castle for over an hour, rising from Baron to Viscount. He was only one person away from becoming Earl, but these people seemed unwilling to fight him to avoid losing rank. Xihen was very patient, waiting on the battlefield. No one dared to take over his territory. Xihen was now the king of the battlefield. If you want to fight, defeat me first, or find a Viscount to fight me so I can become Earl, and then I'll temporarily leave. Where to go? Of course, to see Cynthia and Little Leaf. Let me handle this. Finally, a voice came from the back door. Xihen was stroking Noivern's head. Last night, Camo had given Noivern a major training session, this time even bringing along Baby Tyrannosaurus, making Baby Tyrannosaurus fully realize its weakness. After so many battles today, Noivern finally successfully evolved into Noivern. Hearing the sound from the back door, Xihen turned around and saw someone had finally arrived. It was an acquaintance. Long time no see, cousin, it's you, Xihen Changaya. The person who came was the red-haired boy he hadn't seen in a long time, Xihen's younger brother, Xihen Changaya. Xihen had absolutely no liking for Xihen Changaya, who had once kidnapped Little Leaf and made Cynthia cry so much? Don't be so formal, I'm still your brother. Xihen Chang'ai walked to the other side of the battlefield, revealing a seemingly harmless smile. This guy has also come to Kalos now, is it a coincidence? Come back and rest, Noivern. Xihen recalled Noivern. He didn't think that Xihen Chang'ai's Pokemon was something a newly evolved Noivern could handle. I think Zhangji is with you now. Zhangji hadn't appeared since he arrived, and Xihen couldn't think of anywhere else besides Xihen Chang'ai. Zhangji? He's really not with me, Xihen Chang'ai replied, his expression not seeming to be lying. Cousin, if you beat me, I have something to tell you. Xihen Chang'ai put on his purple cape and took out a Pokeball. Come on. Chapter 359 The news brought by Xihen Chang'ai. Come on. Xihen, already wearing the cloak representing a Viscount, took out a Pokeball. Go, Flamethrower. Xihen Chang's Pokemon? He used Flamethrower, a Pokemon Xihen hadn't seen before. Go, Greninja. Xihen had decided to use Greninja from the start, especially since it was a fire type. Flamethrower, a king Pokemon, fire type, normal type, the evolved form of Leo. It has large red and yellow manes. The mane patterns of males and females are different. In a group, the male with the largest mane is the leader, the females have the mission of protecting the offspring. Xihen looked at Flamethrower's information in his Pokédex. This Pokemon looked quite impressive. Flamingo, use Tackle. Shinbetsuioshi didn't use a fire-type move, but a normal-type move. Flamingo was very fast and charged towards Greninja. However, Greninja was faster and jumped up to dodge Flamingo's tackle. But who would have thought that Flamingo would suddenly turn around and charge back? Greninja crossed its arms in front of its chest and was knocked away, but the damage it suffered was not very serious. Water Shuriken. After Greninja regained its footing, it received Juuki's instruction and launched a Water Shuriken at Magikarp. Magnemon, use Protect and then Wild Charge. Magikarp blocked Greninja's Water Shuriken with Protect, then charged towards Greninja, which had just landed from the air after throwing the Water Shuriken, enveloped in lightning. This guy can even learn electric-type moves. Greninja, dig. Greninja landed from the air and dug a hole, narrowly dodging Magikarp's Wild Charge. This guy was indeed difficult to deal with. Use Dark Pulse on the hole. Shinbetsuioshi also seemed very relaxed, appearing to be in complete control. He attacked the hole entrance with Dark Pulse, and Greninja jumped out, but its clone inside the hole was destroyed. I know your Pokemon inside and out, said Xihen Chang'ai. Yes, this guy had taken care of his Pokemon before, and it seemed he knew everything about them. However, he could never truly understand what Xihen was thinking. Moves are static, but people are dynamic. It all depends on how the moves are used. Greninja, Water Shuriken, and Shadow Sneak Attack. Greninja threw Water Shuriken again. This time, Flamigra's Protect failed, and Greninja's Shadow entered through the hole beneath Greninja's feet and emerged from the hole beneath Flamigra's feet, hitting Flamigra's vital point. This hit Flamigra hard. Keep attacking, Shadow Clone, then Aerial Ace. Before Flamigra could recover, Greninja charged forward while using Shadow Clone. Shadow Clone, use Hyper Beam. Main body, use Aerial Ace, Xihen commanded. The clone first used Hyper Beam, hitting Flamigra and immobilizing it again. The clone entered a state of stun, but it hadn't disappeared yet. The immobilized Flame Lion was hit again by Greninja's U-turn. In less than 10 seconds, Flame Lion was hit by Water Shuriken, Shadow Sneak Attack, Hyper Beam, and U-turn, instantly putting it at a disadvantage. Its stamina was also nearing its limit. I'm not fighting anymore, at this moment, Shinbetsunia recalled Flame Lion. This is already a loss for me. Greninja hasn't achieved Bond phenomenon yet, so I have no reason to continue fighting. Shinbetsunia is as thoughtful as his father, and even more so. Master Xihen has won his 10th victory. He's been promoted from Viscount to Earl, the owner of the Battle Castle announced. The maid also helped Xihen change into a new cloak, the color of which looked much better. What color is an Earl again? After receiving the new cloak, Xihen left the battlefield, with Shinbetsunia following behind. The two went to the hall, sat on the sofa, and a new round of battle soon began. Finally, it was their turn to fight. So, what are you trying to tell me? There are others in the Xihen family, I know, isn't it you? Oh, not just me. Xihen Chang'ai raised an eyebrow. Was this guy really a business genius? You mean, your father can fake his death? And so can your third and fourth uncles. They're still alive. Xihen Chenggai's words stunned Xihen. Xihen and the third and fourth brothers mentioned in the diary as having been killed by Xihen were also alive? Xihen didn't speak, his brows furrowed. So, Xihen seemed to have eliminated many people, but in reality, he accomplished nothing? Seeing that Xihen remained silent, Xihen Chengai continued, they're not dead, which means the internal strife within the Xihen family isn't over yet. I saw my third and fourth brothers a while ago. The third and fourth brothers Xihen Chengai referred to were the sons of his third and fourth brothers. The two of them were together, and I fought them. They're very strong. Your third and fourth uncles have joined forces, so you're in a bit of danger now. Are they in the Carlos region now? Yes, they came to take my life, but I managed to escape. Xihen Chengai clenched his fist as he spoke. You're here to seek cooperation with me, aren't you? If the two of us are together, they won't dare to attack you so easily. Xihen saw right through Xihen Chenggai's thoughts, and Xihen Chengai could only nod. Now that Xihen was dead, he had no one to protect him, so he could only turn to Xihen. How can you expect me to trust you? Using my daughter to threaten my wife? Xihen stared intently at Xihen Chengai, making him feel a chill run down his spine. I had no choice. I've always listened to my father my whole life. I don't believe you. Even if they're still alive, let them come find me. I'm not afraid of them. Xihen Chengai, you'd better watch yourself, Xihen said, standing up to leave. You're my cousin. How can you abandon me? He's still my cousin. Blood is thicker than blood. A line from Detective Chinatown intrudes. Xihen turned back to look at him. Go find Xihen. Tell him I sent you to find him. That's all I'm helping you with. Xihen turned to leave again, then paused, turning back. Give me flamethrower. Xihen Chengai was completely dumbfounded. You don't even care if I live or die, and you still have the nerve to ask for my Pokémon. Sigh, Xihen Tsuni aside, placing the Flame Lion's Pokéball in Yuhan's hand, watching him walk away without looking back. Yuhan walked along, lost in thought. His heart was far from calm. Xihen alone possessed so many legendary Pokémon, almost causing his family's ruin. Now his third and fourth uncles were working together. It seemed like things were going to get complicated. He didn't have any legendary Pokémon, and suddenly felt completely insecure. Xihen Tsuni had also mentioned that his two other cousins were in the Kalos region. Were those two definitely after him? Yuhan shook his head, took out Gardevoir, went to the Pokémon Center first, and then teleported to the villa he had previously purchased. Chapter 360. Back at the villa, the delicate Cynthia. Young master, what brings you here? As soon as Xihen entered, he saw the housekeeper cleaning the hall. The hall used to be quite spacious, but after Cynthia moved in, she put blankets, sofas, a TV, a computer, and other things in the first floor hall. Before, only an old lady lived here, and the rooms on the second floor were already filled with things, so the old lady didn't need anything in the first floor hall. Well, I didn't have anything to do, I just came back to see Cynthia and Yellen, Xihen said as he walked in. Where are Cynthia and the others? Madam and the others are in the entertainment room upstairs. Meowth is playing with Yellen. Xihen nodded and went upstairs to find them. After the renovation, the house was much brighter, and the area in front of the door was no longer overgrown with weeds, but had become a garden. All the windows in the rooms were open, making it very bright. The people in this world were quite nice. There were no burglaries or robberies. Everyone in this world was interested in Pokémon, so there were no Pokémon hunters or Pokémon thieves. Burglaries like that had never actually happened. When Xihen arrived at the room, Cynthia was putting Yellen and Meowth down the slide. The room hadn't changed much, partly because it already had everything it needed, and partly because Meowth loved it there, so Cynthia hadn't made any changes. Cynthia now seemed more like a mother, a standard virtuous wife and loving mother. She had even given up her love of ice cream for little Yellen. Hi, Cynthia stood up when she saw Xihen and walked over to him. Yeah, I came to see you, let's talk outside. Cynthia took Xihen's arm and walked outside. The two went to the hall together. Little Yellen could crawl by herself now, so Meowth could take care of her. Where are May and the others? After arriving in the hall, the two sat on the sofa. Cynthia leaned on Xihen's shoulder. May insisted on going to Professor Sycamore's Pokémon summer camp. They're filming a Pokémon short film today. I thought it was boring, so I ran back, So you only came back because you were bored? Cynthia's words revealed a hint of murderous intent. No, I came back for a good reason, Xihen quickly said, sensing Cynthia's murderous aura. Oh? What's the important matter? Tell me, isn't it Neji's birthday in 4 days? Then she can go on her own trip. Who'll manage the gym? Hearing that Xihen really had something important to discuss, Cynthia thought for a moment. I can't take care of Yellen and the gym at the same time. I think you could let Jay or Xiudi go. Cynthia thought the same thing as Xihen. They really are a couple, aren't they? Jay manages the Divine Feather Hotel, so I think Xiudi could go. Cynthia looked up at Xihen and said. But that Xiudi kid, he's really changed a lot recently. He's not like he used to be. Xiudi is actually a pretty good kid. Cynthia gave Xihen a loving smile. That look on your face. Xiud isn't my son, what are you talking about? Cynthia giggled. I treat him like a younger brother, and he treats us like older brothers and sisters. Alright, then when it's Neji's birthday, you can tell him about making Xiud the gym leader. I hope my Pokemon won't hate him, like Agron and Apostle. Xiud just took them away. He's really good to them. Xiud just loves Pokemon too much, and he's influenced by his sister, that's why he did that. Alright. I see you're starting to say nice things about him now. Really? There's something else I need to tell you. Xihen's first sentence was quite relaxed as he spoke to Cynthia, but the second half suddenly became serious. He put his hand on Cynthia's shoulder, making her face him. What's wrong? Cynthia was a little confused by Xihen's sudden change. What's wrong with this guy all of a sudden? On my way here, I ran into Shinayu Changaya, Xihen said to Cynthia, clearly noticing the unease in her eyes after hearing this. He told me that my third and fourth uncles are still alive, and that they encountered my other 2 cousins who want to kill him. What? Your third and fourth uncles? Weren't they dead? Cynthia's eyes revealed deep worry. Last time, Shinayu Haneda alone was enough to give her trouble, and now there are 2 more? They're faking their deaths, Cynthia. Protect yourself, Xihen said to Cynthia with a serious expression. It was hard to guarantee that her third and fourth uncles wouldn't attack Cynthia and Yilan. Xihen, what about you? Cynthia disregarded her own safety, asking Xihen first. I'll be alright, but all your legendary Pokemon have been taken away, and your Rayquaza is still asleep. Don't worry, I can sense it. Viper will wake up soon, and I still have Camo. They won't find it so easy to harm me. Xihen touched Cynthia's face. With such a caring woman, what more could he ask for? Even in danger, she only thought of his safety. Feeling the warmth of Xihen's hand, Cynthia gripped his other hand tightly. Xihen, how about we go? Huh? What did you say? Where to? Xihen was completely bewildered. Why were they leaving? We can go abroad. They definitely won't chase us there, right? Silly, it's okay, I'm not afraid, don't worry. Xihen hugged Cynthia and patted her back. The once dominant Sinnoh champion, the aloof goddess, has now become a delicate little woman, no longer the same as before. This is good, isn't it? Cynthia stopped talking and leaned against Xihen's chest for a long time before they separated. Okay, take good care of yourself, Cynthia said to Xihen with a forced smile. Xihen suddenly regretted telling Cynthia about this. Xihen nodded. I'll take good care of myself. You take good care of yourself too. I'll go back now, otherwise that little girl May will scold me again. Okay, go ahead. Cynthia walked Xihen to the door, kissed him, and then went back to her room. After getting her Pokeball, she went to the battle arena in the backyard. I promise I won't let you worry about me anymore. Cynthia's eyes changed, and her aura seemed to change as well. She gripped the Pokeball tightly. At this moment, she was still the invincible Sinnoh champion she once was. Hey, do you guys want to help Xihen's third and fourth uncles, and third and fourth brothers think of names? Also, what kind of plot would you like to see? Leave a comment below, and I'll take your suggestions into consideration to make my book even better, and also, my other 2 books, King's Moon, Ying Zheng's King Brother, and One Piece, The Wood Realm. One Piece, The Wood Realm will be updated slowly. After Pokemon Master Trainer is finished, I'll finish One Piece first, and then finish King's Moon. This process might take a long time, so I hope you can all stay with me. I'll do my best, thank you. Chapter 361 Pokemon Cross Country Race. Third place goes to Team Charmander. When Xihen returned, Professor Syracuse was announcing the rankings for the Pokémon short film competition, starting with the announcement of third place. The 3 members of Team Charmander, whose name was called, seemed quite excited. They received 4 points, and their short film was played. Second place goes to Team Froakie. Team Froakie, Ash's team, came in second place. They received 7 points and seemed very happy. Their short film was based on Serena's idea, depicting the gluttonous Pokémon. Finally, the first place winner of this Pokémon photography competition is Team Noivern. Congratulations to them for receiving 10 points. Professor Syracuse first whetted everyone's appetite before announcing the result. Team Noivern received applause. This was all decided by voting, and it seemed many people voted for them. Yay! I knew it. Haha. May jumped up happily. The short video they filmed was of Gadria happily holding Meowth and spinning around. It seemed like nothing special, but that was Gadria, the goddess of Unova. She actually smiled, and smiled so beautifully. Gadria's smile instantly captured the hearts of many people. It's perfectly normal to vote for Gadria. Well done, May. Gadria. Xihen walked out from the crowd and stood in front of them. You're back. May jumped onto Xihen, making a fool of herself in front of everyone, but May didn't care at all. Yeah, I know you missed me, but can you get down first? Xihen said helplessly, holding May's little paw. Oh, May jumped off Xihen's lap, and Gadria walked over as well. Let's go eat. We got another 10 points today. Gadria naturally stepped between the two, took Xihen and May's hands, and led them to the restaurant. Their 10 points had attracted a lot of envy. What level did you reach at Battle Castle today? May asked Xihen during the meal. I just defeated the Earl. I fought there for so long, but it seemed like no one dared to challenge me anymore, so I had to leave. I'll go again next time. Xihen didn't seem to realize that with just a Noivern bat, he had defeated a Noivern Pokémon, and since the beginning of the battle against the Earl, he had defeated over 20 Pokémon with Noivern. Who would dare challenge him? Really? I thought you were going to take down the Grand Duke in one day. I wanted to too. There were only so many people there, and I took them all down. None of the Earls were there, so I left. The owner of the Battle Castle said he'd contact the Earls for me, so I asked him to contact the Dukes as well. Given Xihen's temperament, he naturally wanted to take down the Grand Duke in one go, but since none of the Earls were there was nothing he could do. So are you going tomorrow? Catlia's question hit the nail on the head. I'll see. If tomorrow's activities are boring, I'll go to the Battle Castle. If it's interesting, I'll go check it out. Did anything interesting happen today? Xihen thought for a moment before answering. Something interesting? Gadria thought for a moment. Let me tell you. Just as Gadria was about to speak, May interrupted. Ash and Serena fell off a cliff today. Ninetales helped them jump back up. How come he didn't die? Xihen muttered softly. Huh? What did you say? Nothing. Sigh. Xihen sighed quietly, wanting to say something, but then decided against it. It was better not to tell them those things, lest they worry unnecessarily. Xihen was thinking about the matter of Shinayu Changaya, and it was better not to tell them about it for now. What's wrong, Xihen? Gadria reached out a small hand and placed it on Xihen's hand. Gadria was quite observant and noticed that Xihen had something on her mind. Nothing, I just caught a Pokémon today and was thinking about it. Xihen casually changed the subject. Ah. You caught a new Pokémon? Yeah, I'll show it to you later. Looking at May's adorable expression, Xihen smiled. It was so nice to have them around. Thinking this, Xihen unconsciously took Gadria's small hand. Gadria was now even more certain that Xihen had something he didn't want to tell them, but she didn't bring it up again. Xihen would tell them when he wanted to. Although May saw Xihen holding Gadria's hand, she didn't say anything. Sigh, Gadria really couldn't escape Xihen's clutches, May thought to herself. After dinner, the three went to the beach. It was quite late, and the sand could only be seen by the dim light. Well, this is our new partner. Xihen took out a Pokeball. Come out, Moltres. Moltres emerged from the Pokeball and sat down next to Xihen. Wow, what kind of Pokemon is this? May took out her Pokédex and checked Moltres' information. It looks like it's just a bit longer than Entei's fur. May's description left Xihen speechless. Comparing the two was a bit of a stretch. Moltres is a very strong Pokemon. Gadria came over and patted Moltres' head. Moltres didn't resist. This Moltres has a gentle personality, right? That's really strange for a lion. Yeah, Xihen was helpless again. He didn't know of any other Pokemon that looked fierce but were actually quite fierce, like Salamence, Tyranitar. These two looked so fierce, but they had gentle personalities. Sigh, it's really frustrating. May wanted her Flareon to battle Entei, but Xihen quickly refused. It was so late, if Flareon got beaten up by Entei and injured, Nurse Joy would be asleep, which would be troublesome. Having successfully saved Flareon's life, Xihen recalled it, and the three went back to their room. What's wrong with May lately? She always wants to battle with Entei. She's taking advantage of not having a legendary Pokemon. The three chatted for a while and then went to sleep. Nothing happened that night, except the GS ball on Xihen's table shook a little. The next morning, after washing up and eating, the three saw many people battling and running on the beach. They were all up very early. After gathering, Professor Sycamore announced that today's event was a Pokemon cross-country race. 5 teams set off from the beach, entered the forest, and stamped their marks. The first team to return would be the winner, receiving 10 points as before. It was said that obtaining these marks would take some effort, which piqued Xihen's interest, and she decided to participate in this Pokemon cross-country race with May and Katla. Next chapter, Legendary Pokemon appear. Chapter 362 The Pokemon of the Past. Pokemon Cross-Country Race. Begin. With Professor Syracuse's command, all 5 teams charged out. Leading the pack were Ash's Froakie team and Squirtle's team, who surged forward as soon as they heard start. In third place was Xihen's Noibat team. Since May had already sprinted off at the sound of the start, and she couldn't outrun Ash and the others, Xihen reluctantly followed alongside her. The first stamping location was on a mountain, requiring climbing a rock face. Professor Syracuse's assistant was waiting up there. Alright, let's climb. Froakie, you need to bring a Pokemon to climb with you. Ash bringing Froakie was understandable, but that fat guy, Tyrano, brought out Squirtle and, holding hands with Squirtle, flipped and climbed up the mountain? That fat guy is too agile. Gardevoir, teleport. Xihen shook his head, took out Gardevoir, and used teleport to climb the mountain, stamping the seal. Hey! Xihen, you're too cunning. Ash was still struggling to climb, and seeing Xihen go up like that, he immediately felt it was ridiculous. At this moment, the fat guy Tyrano finally ran into trouble. Just as he was about to climb up, he stepped on a rock and broke it, causing him and Squirtle to fall. Just before they hit the ground, they floated in the air. Xihen had already returned to the ground, and Gardevoir used Psychic to catch them both, safely placing them on the ground. I'm going now. Xihen waved and headed to the next location with May and Gadgetson. The next part involved crossing bridges and crawling through tunnels, all of which Gardevoir easily handled with a single teleport, making it a complete challenge. We can get back to the beach after passing through this forest, and we'll win. Another 10 points. May hugged Xihen's arm and walked with him. I regretted coming to this today from the start. It's so boring. I should have just fought the Duke. Oh, don't say that. Let's go. May laughed and pulled Xihen along. Fog. Gadrea, walking on Xihen's other side, looked at the thick fog that was gradually appearing around them. Fog? Why is it foggy? Look. What's that? May suddenly pointed to the woods and a dark shadow darted past. It's probably a Pokemon, Xihen said, chasing after it. You guys go back and wait for me. Finally, something interesting happened. What was that Pokemon? Hey, that guy. The two looked helplessly at Xihen's back as he ran into the fog, exchanged a glance, shook their heads, and headed towards the finish line together. Anyway, nothing bad would happen to that guy. Xihen followed the dark shadow back into the depths of the woods, but the shadow was nowhere to be seen. That's strange. It should be over here. Xihen looked around, but couldn't find the Pokemon. As Xihen was about to search another spot, something suddenly lifted her up, and she landed on top of it, being propelled forward. Xihen reached out to grab something. In this state, one instinctively grabs for something. Xihen tried to grab something, and as she reached out, she seemed to grasp a pair of horns. Very large horns. Xihen slowly opened her eyes and saw trees passing by on both sides, and in front of her a pair of large, rainbow-colored horns. Xerneas. It turned out that Xerneas had lifted her up. Xerneas appeared here in the original storyline. Long time no see, Master, it really is you. She hadn't expected that she was the Xerneas that Arceus had taken away. What was she doing here? Yes, I didn't expect you to come here, Master, but why are you here? Xerneas led Xihen to a cliff. Xihen sat on the edge of the cliff, and Xerneas lay beside her. After Arceus took us away, he left me on this island without saying a word. Is that so? It seems they did too. Xihen lowered her head and looked down at the cliff below, lost in thought. Although these guys were often disobedient and caused her trouble, she really missed them. Arceus once told us in his space that one day you would find us again. Master, don't be sad. Xerneas affectionately nuzzled Xihen's face. Their reunion deepened their bond. Xerneas, initially happy to be separated from Xihen, later realized she seemed to have grown accustomed to life with humans and missed Xihen terribly. Xihen smiled and patted Xerneas' head. It's so good you're back. By the way, you should know where Yveltal is, right? Yes, he's on this island, but he's asleep again. He's turned into a cocoon again. So lazy. Let's go find him. Xerneas, come back. Xihen took out a Pokeball, a great ball, and held it in front of Xerneas. Xerneas bumped into the Pokeball and was captured by Xihen. We need to find them all quickly. Xihen looked at the Pokeball in her hand with a heavy heart. If so many legendary Pokemon were scattered across various islands and towns, what would happen to the world if they were captured and controlled by malicious individuals using modern weapons? And if his third and fourth uncles got their hands on them, it would be even more troublesome. Moreover, his third and fourth brothers have now dared to show themselves, and his third and fourth uncles have dared to show their faces. Perhaps they have already obtained something. Xihen dared not imagine any further. He seemed to have understood the purpose of his coming to this world. Xihen, this pitiful child, committed suicide to avoid bearing this family fate. His coming to this world was entirely Viper's salvation for Xihen. Viper possessed extraordinary power, and Xihen also had it, but Arlong was not Xihen. He had not yet discovered what kind of abilities this body possessed. Then Xihen used Gardevoir's instant transmission to return first. When he returned, everyone had already returned, and the rankings were announced. Team Noah was naturally in first place. Ash and his friends, along with the 3 members of Team Squirtle, seemed to have encountered some trouble due to the dense fog created by Xerneas. When they returned, they were already in 4th and 5th place, so their scores in this Pokemon cross-country race were irrelevant. After letting May and Katla go back to rest, Xihen followed Xerneas to where Yveltal was. It was a cave, one of Yveltal's favorite places. The cave was dark, but Xerneas' light illuminated it. Sitting on Xerneas' back, Xihen reached the bottom of the cave, where there was a pool of blood. In the center of the pool was a large, cocoon-like object. Why is that pool red? That's the blood of the Pokemon that lived in this pool when Yveltal first arrived. That guy's temper is as bad as ever. Chapter 363 Reclaiming Yveltal. Hey, Xihen picked up a stone from the ground and threw it at Yveltal, at the cocoon in the middle of the pool. The cocoon didn't react at all. It seemed the stone had no effect on him. Hyper Beam, Xerneas suddenly exclaimed from the side. No, he's still one of my men. I was just waking him up. Why be so fierce? Xihen suddenly wondered if this god of life really was the god of life. Well, I'll just kick him a couple of times. Xihen walked to the middle of the pool and kicked the cocoon twice. The egg finally reacted a little, even trembling. What's going on with this guy? Alright, stop pretending. Xerneas ran over and gently nudged the cocoon with his horn, opening it. This guy woke up as soon as we came in. He's always a light sleeper. You two have gotten along really well. Xihen looked at this scene with surprise. They used to always dislike each other. Hey, are you crying? Xihen ran up to Yveltal, who only showed half its body. I'm not, although its words still held a murderous edge. It couldn't hide its joy. It was crying tears of excitement, never expecting to actually see this human again. Alright, you're not crying. This cave smells awful. Let's go. Xihen patted Yveltal's body, and Yveltal emerged fully from the pool, grabbed Xihen, put it on its back, and flew away. Xerneas smiled and followed behind them, leaving the cave together. Yveltal, a legendary dark flying type Pokemon. A legendary Pokemon whose outstretched wings and tail turn red, capable of absorbing the life force of all living beings. When its life force is exhausted, it will absorb the life force of all living beings in the world, returning to its cocoon form. Its ability is Dark Aura, which increases the attack power of Dark-type moves. No known evolutionary chain exists. Xerneas, a legendary Fairy-type Pokemon. It slept for 1,000 years in the form of a tree before being resurrected. When its horn emits a 7-colored light, it shares eternal life. Its ability, Fairy Aura, increases the attack power of fairy-type moves. It is known not to have an evolutionary chain. Xerneas was captured by a Veltal when entering the ancient cave. It battled a Veltal and used fairy aura to repair the ancient cave. During the battle at the villa, it was controlled by Team Plasma and attacked a Veltal before being captured by Arceus. After leaving the cave, a Veltal carried Xerneas around, with Xerneas following below. Sometimes the two Pokémon even traveled side by side. After a Veltal left the cave, many Pokémon peeked out from the cave, thinking, that guy's finally gone. A Veltal was two-faced. He said he wasn't crying, but he'd actually started crying when Xihen came in. He didn't know why he'd cry for a mere human. He just had a complex mix of emotions inside him, making him happy. Was he finally showing signs of humanity? Xihen finally got down after a Veltal had flown enough. If it weren't for Rayquaza inside Xihen, he would have been thrown up by a Veltal. Phew. I wasn't worried about you dropping me, but it feels pretty good to be on my feet, Xihen muttered helplessly after landing. Come with me again, a Veltal. Xihen took out a great ball and held it in front of a Veltal. A Veltal hesitated for a moment, then went inside. If Xihen knew what he was thinking then, I was gone for a while, and I can't even hold a Master Ball anymore, he'd be furious. Great, come back, Xerneas, Xihen recalled Xerneas. It was so great to see the two of them again at this Pokemon summer camp. Xihen would even be willing to go to summer camp again. Really, the following content is some content from the new book One Piece, just filling up the word count. SHH, huff, huff, huff. A deafening snoring sound rang out in the cabin. A white-haired boy, about 17 years old, lying on the bow, clenched his fists tightly. Finally, he couldn't hold back any longer and jumped off the bow. He walked past a group of people in white uniforms and arrived at the cabin door. Commodore. Commodore, a person in white uniform came forward. Get out of the way. The white-haired boy glanced at him, pushed him aside, and kicked open the cabin door. Everyone around instinctively covered their ears. You damn old man, get up. The boy kicked the man in the chair hard, sending him flying more than 10 meters away without any resistance, tearing a hole in the cabin and landing on the deck at the stern. Huff. Huff. What's unbearable is that this guy is still sleeping. The man who had stopped the boy earlier sighed. I knew he was useless. Damn it. The boy walked up to him. This kick will send you into the sea. A visible black substance appeared on his boots, and he kicked the old man hard. Snap. The seemingly powerful kick was actually caught by the old man. You wretched brat, did I teach you armament haki so you could fight me? The old man grabbed the boy's foot and stood up, leaving the boy head first. Damn it, old man Garp, let me go. This is the first time I've gone to sea with you, and you've been sleeping the whole time. We encountered over a dozen pirate groups on the way, and I took them all down. That's fine, but your snoring is just too loud. The boy kicked wildly with his other leg, which wasn't being held, but he couldn't kick Garp. Pop, a bubble popped on Garp's nose. You bastard. Don't sleep when people are talking, huh? Garp snapped awake and looked at the cabin. Huh? You bastard, what did you do to my cabin? Seeing the dilapidated cabin, old man Garp grabbed the boy's leg and threw him into the sea. Where to? To the mountains to find Luffy, Garp said and walked away first. Fei Yin flashed at Garp's side in an instant, using the Navy's 6 powers technique. Shave. They walked uphill with Garp into the mountains. Not far away, there was a loud bang and a cloud of dust rose up. That must have been Luffy making the noise. Garp and Hidayori quickly arrived and found Luffy sitting on a giant boar, grinning foolishly. For some reason, Garp suddenly rushed over and gave Luffy a heart-shaped punch. Luffy, who had just been grinning, immediately squatted down and started crying, then wrestled with Garp. This grandfather and grandson duo. Hidayori was speechless. After a while, Luffy finally realized Hidayori's presence. He seemed to have never seen him before, and after looking him over, he pointed at him and asked Garp, Old man, who's this? Call me Grandpa. Another punch landed on Luffy's head before Garp answered, Hidayori is my disciple, an excellent Marine Admiral, a Marine Admiral. Luffy suddenly fell into thought, then, as if he had just remembered something, patted Hidayori's shoulder, become a pirate with me, eh? Chapter 364 Suru Gym, Ash's Gym Battle. Finally, the last day of summer camp arrived. The Xihen team undoubtedly had the highest score, securing their place in the Hall of Fame. However, they still wanted to try and snatch it. How? Xihen's team had 30 points, while the second-place Froakie team only had 13, and the Squirtle team had the same number. The final score would be determined by a group battle. Upon hearing it was a battle, some people frowned. The Sinnoh champion had defeated them all on the first day, they had no chance against him. Besides, Xihen's Elite Four member, Gadrillia, had defeated the Unova champion, May. How could they possibly beat such a team? Although Team Rocket tried to cause trouble, they gave up after seeing Xihen. In the end, Xihen single-handedly defeated all three members of the Froakie team, securing her place in the Pokémon Summer Camp Hall of Fame. May looked very excited. However, to be honest, Xihen's Pokémon fleet is almost full: Camo, Gardevoir, Infernape, Greninja, Flareon, Noivern, Pancham, Rogue, Xerneas, Yveltal, Baby Greyhound, and Lucario. It seems it's not just almost full, it's already full. After looking around, Xihen sent Infernape and Pancham back. Anyway, May didn't really care about Pancham, the other Pancham was just May's pet. Xihen's original purpose for coming here was just to travel and collect badges, but now that he'd met Xerneas and Yveltal, he finally had a clear goal: to find them all and bring them home. Next came the time to enter the hall. It was already evening, and Professor Sycamore set off fireworks on the beach. The fireworks lasted for a long time, captivating everyone. However, Ash, being the oddball, was more interested in Sinnoh and Squirtle's tactics, wanting to learn their rhythm strategy to challenge the Sora City gym. He hadn't even had a gym battle yet. The next morning, Professor Sycamore announced the end of the Pokémon Summer Camp, and all the trainers left. Xihen and her group headed to Seawing City once again. So you brought them back. On the way, Xihen told me and Catley about Xerneas and Yveltal. Yes, Xerneas also told me that they've all been scattered in various places. I'm going to find them all here. That's great. Catley was also happy for Xihen. I really didn't expect to see them here. We should be in Seawing City soon. I didn't expect Ash and the others haven't challenged the Solid Gym yet. Don't worry about them. At this time, they should still be waiting for the tide to enter the gym. To get to the Solid Gym, they had to wait for dusk, for the ocean tide to part and create a path. But Xihen didn't care about that and teleported in directly. We also have to listen to Grandpa's stories. Haha, May laughed and said. Corina's grandfather always liked to tell stories about Mega Evolution to people who came in. Xihen and the others had heard it before, but after seeing so many Mega Evolution keys on Xihen, Corina's grandfather finally shut up. It was lunchtime, and the three of them were preparing lunch together. There was also a group of Pokémon waiting to be taken care of. As evening fell, Xihen and his group finally arrived in Seawing City and checked into a hotel. While Ash and his friends were sleeping, Team Rocket caused trouble, stealing Grandpa Corina's secret techniques. Although they were eventually retrieved, these so-called secret techniques were just useless daily routines. The next morning, Ash finally began his battle at the Sora City Gym. The first match was between Kung Fu Itachi and Ash's Battlebird, who used some kind of rhythm strategy, but was completely outmatched. Battlebird was utterly powerless. So, it just goes to show, you have to rely on yourself in battle. Why bother learning useless tactics? Ash finally understood his own fighting style, and Battlebird was finally able to switch hands. Kung Fu Itachi's flying kick slammed into the ground, causing significant damage to itself. Battlebird pressed its advantage, delivering a powerful chop followed by a flying dash, defeating Corina's first Pokémon. Kung Fu Itachi, Ash's Battlebird, certainly had some strength. Next, Corina brought out her second Pokémon, Machoke, while Ash recalled his Battlebird and brought out Fliggin. Initially, Ash's Fliggin attacked first, but Machoke overwhelmed it, leaving it unable to retaliate. Fliggin's attacks were even blocked by Machoke, causing it considerable damage. However, Machoke was then defeated by Fliggin's Gale Slash and Flame attack. It seemed like a sure loss, but they won. No wonder it's the protagonist. Corina then recalled Machoke and brought out her final Pokémon, Lucario. And immediately upon bringing out Lucario, it used Mega Evolution. This was Ash's first battle against a Mega Evolved Pokémon. Ash attacked first with Flame attack, which Lucario blocked. Next, Lucario countered with Aura Sphere, which Fliggin blocked with Steel Wing. Lucario, incredibly fast, instantly appeared behind Fliggin and slammed it to the ground with a power punch, rendering it unable to battle. Ash recalled Finch and prepared to switch Pokémon, but Team Rocket escaped again. Froakie spotted them, and Clement and Serena rushed over, knocking Team Rocket away once more. Poor thing. Ash switched to Battlebird, and Mega Lucario used Bone Pulse, wielding 2 bone clubs, followed by an aura sphere, instantly defeating Battlebird. Ash's last Pokemon was Pikachu. Initially, neither attacked first. Ash even engaged in some psychological warfare. However, Pikachu struck first, its Vokeball being deflected by Lucario's Bone Pulse. Pikachu then used Thunderbolt in mid-air to hit Lucario, but was still knocked to the ground by the Aura Sphere, and the two began a direct, head-on battle. Moreover, Ash's Pikachu actually used Iron Tail to deflect Lucario's Aura Sphere. Who would have thought Ash's Pikachu could fight Corina's Mega Lucario to such an extent? The two began their final battle, and after a fierce fight, Ash's Pikachu actually defeated Corina's Mega Lucario. How come Ash couldn't even beat a beginner Snivy back then, but now he's defeated Mega Lucario? This protagonist's halo is a bit too strong. Ash can defeat Corina's Mega Lucario. Doesn't that mean Xihen's Lucario will also lose to Ash? Ash's gym battle is over. Next is Xihen's gym battle. First, she battled May, successfully winning the badge with Ninetales and Darmanitan. Xihen will challenge the gym battle in the afternoon. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365 Xihen Sea-Wing Gym Battle. Next up is my turn. Go, Rogue Panda. The afternoon gym battle began, with Xihen and Fu-I battling it out. Xihen's first Pokemon was Rogue Panda. My first one is still him. Go, Jumpluff. Jumpluff is a grass-flying type Pokemon. Its body is blue and round, with 3 cotton balls almost as big as its body extending from it, 1 on each arm and 1 on its head. 3 or 4 leaves grow under the cotton ball on its head. Jumpluff has round feet and a small tail. Its eyes are red, bead-like. Jumpluff can use its fluffy cotton spores to levitate. These spores can control its flight even in extremely strong winds like hurricanes. Yesterday, in Uncle Fu and May's battle, the first Pokemon they used was Jumpluff. Pandaren, tackle. Xihen immediately sent Pandaren to tackle, but the resulting airflow blew Jumpluff even higher, making it impossible for Pandaren to hide him. I see. Pandaren, aim at Jumpluff and use close combat on the air. Xihen smiled and sent Pandaren to attack the air. Pandaren used close combat on the air, and the resulting airflow sent Jumpluff flying wildly. Jumpluff couldn't do anything about it. The airflow was too strong for Jumpluff to control. Use Awaken. After the close combat ended, Xihen immediately used the next move. Pandaren used Awaken, and 3 purple balls hit the dizzy Jumpluff, causing him to fall down. Mount-type pressing down, following Xihen's instructions, the Rogue Panda deliberately walked slowly to the Jumpluff to use this move, then grabbed it to prevent it from being blown away again, and then sat down on it. This series of actions left Xihen and the others dumbfounded. Even Fu-I couldn't stand it anymore. Was this funny or cruel? Such a small guy being pressed down on the butt by such a big guy. Jumpluff is unable to battle. Rogue Panda wins. The referee, seeing Jumpluff's state, announced the result with a rather helpless expression. Come back, you rascal. Xihen recalled the Rogue Panda, and only then could Fu-I retrieve his Jumpluff. Before, the Rogue Panda was too big and couldn't be retrieved at all. Go, Noivern. Xihen's second Pokemon was Noivern. Seeing the second Pokemon, Fu-I almost cursed. Why do all of this guy's Pokemon look so fierce, and fight so fiercely? You're too fierce. Fu-I was inwardly complaining, but outwardly he only coughed twice to show his embarrassment. However, there was no way around it. The gym battle had to continue. Please, Pocket Flower. Fu-Yi's second Pokemon was Pocket Flower, the same one as yesterday's. It's a grass poison type Pokemon, a trumpet-shaped flower-shaped Pokemon. After evolving, Pocket Flower's yellow head becomes larger, and its mouth also enlarges. Its roots have degenerated, becoming brown hooks on its back. It still retains 2 leaves, but they grow on either side of the yellow flower. It has large, round, black eyes, and 3 dark yellow spots have appeared on its forehead. The leaves of Pocket Flower can transform into blades to cut opponents, and it can spit out poisonous powder to stop its opponents, as well as a liquid that can dissolve any substance. It can also secrete a liquid that renders dissolving liquid ineffective, making it immune to dissolving liquid. Pocket Flower primarily preys on bug-type Pokemon. Once it spots prey, it launches its sharp leaves and paralyzes the prey with poisonous powder, finally digesting it with its dissolving liquid. Pocket Flower, use Razor Leaf, this time. Fuyi wanted to strike first, and Pocket Flower quickly used Razor Leaf, which hit Noivern. Noivern, Flamethrower, Xihen had Noivern use Flamethrower, which burned away the Razor Leaf and then hit Pocket Flower, which jumped up and dodged it. However, Fuyi's grass terrain caught fire, but fortunately, the gym's fire prevention system activated and extinguished the fire. Quick Flash, then Dragon Claw. Xihen didn't care about anything else and had Noivern continue attacking. Quick Flash hit Pocket Flower, and then Pocket Flower was knocked away by Noivern's Dragon Claw. Both of these moves were guaranteed to hit, and Pocket Flower couldn't dodge them. Hyper Beam, Xihen finished off Pocket Flower with a Hyper Beam. Pocket Flower is unable to battle, Noivern wins. It was that decisive. I really can't figure out how Bellsprout can fight back. Hey, come back, Bellsprout. Fuyi helplessly retracted Bellsprout. This challenger and the previous challenger are both so violent, and they're both famous figures from the Sinnoh and Unova regions. One of the Unova Elite Four is even watching. What kind of traveling group is this? If you keep fighting like this, will you even be able to open a gym? Noivern, continue the battle. Actually, Xihen originally wanted to use Baby Greyhound, but to save time, she'd let Noivern continue. Fuyi's third Pokemon is strong enough to handle Baby Greyhound, so she'd let Noivern continue against Fuyi's third Pokemon. I'm entrusting this to you, Goat. Goat was Fuyi's last Pokemon. The Goat, a grass-type Pokemon, is incredibly observant of its trainer. It can read the trainer's mood by sensing the touch of their horns while riding on its back. It's a calm and collected Pokemon, allowing it to read the trainer's emotions from the subtle differences in how they hold their horns, resulting in a seamless, telepathic connection. The Goat is quite large enough for Xihen to ride comfortably. However, he doesn't want a grass-type Pokemon. He only seems to have one, superior, and grass-type Pokemon are too fragile, which doesn't interest him. Incidentally, the starter grass-type Pokemon from various regions are quite good. If possible, Xihen also wanted a Sceptile. Noivern, Flamethrower, since it's not our gym that's burning down, let it use Flamethrower. Goat, use Protect. This time, Goat used Protect, blocking the Flamethrower, and the terrain was fine. Tackle, Fuyi started attacking. After using Protect to block the Flamethrower, Goat charged forward, ramming into Noivern's belly, sending Noivern staggering back several steps. Next up is Leech Seed. Fuyi hadn't stopped attacking. He used Leech Seed, planting it under Noivern's feet, trapping it, and absorbing its HP. So far, Goat hadn't been hurt, but Noivern had been injured by the charge and had been planted with Leech Seed. Not bad, Noivern, use Flamethrower on your feet, Xihen chuckled. Then Noivern used Flamethrower on its feet, burning away the Leech Seed and rendering Mount Goat's Leech Seed ineffective. Even if it were planted on Noivern, it would be ineffective. Xihen would have Noivern use Flamethrower on itself to burn away the Leech Seed. Mount Goat, Leaf Blade, you think I'll let you continue attacking? Noivern, Sonic Blast. Chapter 366 Developing Influence in Heir City? Noivern used Sonic Blast, blasting away Mount Goat's Leaf Blade and sending it staggering back several steps. The levels of Noivern and Mount Goat weren't actually that different, otherwise Mount Goat would have been sent flying. Mount Goat, use Photosynthesis. Mount Goat had just been injured, and Fu immediately had it use a skill to recover. Photosynthesis instantly restored Mount Goat's stamina, rendering Noivern's attack useless. Noivern, Flamethrower. Xihen had no choice but to continue attacking, unleashing Flamethrower at Mount Goat. Unable to dodge, Mount Goat was hit, nearly knocking it down. Mount Goat, use Milk Drink. Huh? Xihen was stunned. What kind of skill was that? Then, a green light appeared around Mount Goat, and its stamina was restored, seemingly more than the amount restored by photosynthesis. What's the skill? Drink milk. This skill restores more than half of a Pokemon's HP. It's a very strong recovery skill. May and Katla chatted in the audience. So annoying, constantly recovering. I'll defeat you in one go. Quick attack followed by Dragon Claw. Xihen attacked again, quick attack hitting his Goat directly, followed by Dragon Claw. Flamethrower, Goat is unable to battle, Noivern wins, so the winner is Challenger Xihen. I really can't help it. This is the first time I've encountered someone who attacks so mercilessly. Fuyi helplessly handed the gym badge to Xihen. This was Xihen's fourth badge, he still needed 4 more. Haha, Thanks for your hard work, Fuwei. Xihen chuckled, accepted the gym badge, and recalled Noivern. After leaving the Seawing gym, the three went to eat and then wandered around Seawing City. Seawing City was quite prosperous. There were monorails in the city, and both entering the city and entering the gym required using the monorail. The three took the mountaintop monorail to the coastal area, where the famous Seawing Hotel, Seawing City, was located right by the coast. After choosing a good room, they went back to the beach. There were incense shops there, but none of them were interested in them. This place is a bit like Seaside City, right by the sea, bustling, and with a famous hotel, just like the Divine Feather Hotel. Then why don't we buy the Seawing Hotel and turn it into the Divine Feather Hotel? We can also expand the Divine Feather family's influence in Seawing City, Xihen said nonchalantly, as if it were a trivial matter. In Sinnoh, there's Seaside City, and in Unova, Lotus Town, thanks to the Divine Feather Gym and the Ice Palace Hotel, plus Xihen's efforts, Lotus Town has become Lotus City. This would allow them to expand the Divine Feather family's influence in Seawing City in the Kalos region, ensuring that Xihen has people in every region. You really dare to dream. Do you really think they'll sell this hotel? Gadriya said. The hotel was doing so well, and Gadriya was quite wealthy herself, so she wasn't concerned about the money. What she cared about was whether the owner would really sell the famous and profitable Heir Hotel. Who knows, Xihen said, then called Shen Yuiyu to tell her about it. Soon after, Shen Yuiyu sent back a photo of the signed contract. Heir Hotel had been bought by Shen Yuiyu for a very high price. It really isn't cheap. Xihen looked at the figures on the contract and showed them to Gadriya and the others. Wow, 200 million, in US dollars? This hotel is really expensive, it'll break even. It's okay, let's go back, it's late, Xihen smiled, indicating that she didn't mind. They had been at the beach for a long time, and it was getting dark, it was time to go back. When they returned to the hotel, the owner had become the manager and was waiting for Xihen and the others. Boss, you're back, the manager immediately greeted Xihen and the others upon their return. You're the original owner? Right, yes, I was the original owner of the Seawing Dojo, and now I am the manager. You can call me Feng Yang. The owner was quite young, around 30, and considered young and promising. I won't stay here. I'll be leaving every day. I'll leave this place to you. You know everything anyway. Actually, with those $200 million, the owner could live a carefree life for several lifetimes. Why stay here? But this place was his life's work, and he really couldn't bear to part with it. Yes, Boss Xihen, you're so much older than me, just call me Xihen. Xihen waved and returned to his room with Gadriya and Mei. The next morning, they embarked on their journey to the next dojo. The following is the One Piece section from the new book. Brew brew brew, brew brew brew. At this moment, Xihen's den mushi rang, and Xihen took it out of his pocket. This is Brigadier General Hidayori, this is Sengoku. Where are you in Gart now? East Blue. Hidayori didn't specify the location, only saying East Blue. Back to East Blue again? Come back as soon as possible. The promotion ceremony for generals is in 6 days. Your achievements are more than enough. You'll be promoted to Rear Admiral this time. If Garp doesn't want to come back, then you can come back yourself. After Sengoku finished speaking, he hung up the phone without waiting for Hidayori's reaction. Hey, old man, Sengoku wants me to go back. Hidayori simply didn't mention that Sengoku wanted them to go back together, because Hidayori never wanted to be on the same ship as Garp again. Okay, Garp replied and continued his domestic violence against Luffy. Hidayori shook his head and left, appearing on the warship a few times in a flash. Prepare a small boat and the log pose back to Marineford for me, Hidayori said directly to the soldiers lying on the ship, and they got busy, releasing a small boat from the cargo hold and finding the log pose back to Marineford, handing it to Hidayori. This series of actions was quite quick. After receiving the Eternal Pointer, Fei Yin jumped off the ship and stood on the small boat. Yang Fan left, and the Marines wouldn't ask him where he was going. Following the direction of the Eternal Pointer, Fei Yin headed towards Marineford. At this time, the Marineford War hadn't happened yet, so Marineford's location hadn't been changed to the G1 branch in the New World. Passing through the Gates of Justice, he could return to Marineford in 5 days. Now, Fei Yin followed the Eternal Pointer to Water 7, and used the Gates of Justice on Annie's lobby to travel to Impel Down, the deep-sea prison. Please pay more attention to and add this new book to your favorites. And please vote for it. Chapter 367 On the way to Roma City. The next gym is in Lavender City. The gym leader's name is Marshall, and she uses fairy-type Pokémon. She's also a model, Gadrillia said to Xihen on the way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, what are you counting? Seeing that Xihen didn't seem to be listening, Gadrillia leaned closer. Badges, I thought I had 4, but there are actually 5. It's been so long since I've battled a gym, I'd forgotten. I was talking about the next gym. The next gym. What's up? The next gym is Lavender City, and the gym leader is Marshall, who uses fairy-type Pokémon? Fairy-type? To be honest, I haven't battled fairy-type Pokémon that many times. This Marshall is quite famous. She was a model, but now she's a designer. She's also a rather mysterious woman. Ha. Ash and the others haven't challenged Mr. Chakra yet. They're so slow. May suddenly laughed and said. How did you know? Haha, Serena told me. They took a submarine, saw a lot of water-type Pokémon at the bottom of the sea, and even found a sunken ship. When did you get so close to Serena? What's wrong with that? Serena is great. Okay, of course you can. Anyway, let's go to Roma City now. I'm afraid we won't be able to get there today. We'll have to camp outside. Gadria looked at the map and said helplessly. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm hungry. Xihen rubbed her stomach and said. It was already noon. I can't do anything with you. Let's find a riverbank first. May put away her phone and looked at Xihen helplessly. Actually, she was hungry too. Okay, the three arrived at a riverbank and began preparing their food. After lunch, they headed back towards Lavender City. Along the way, Xihen used his baby Tyranitar to defeat any Pokémon he encountered to level it up, but he didn't see any Pokémon he liked. Tyranitar, in the afternoon, as Xihen was about to recall baby Tyranitar to prepare dinner, it suddenly cried out towards the bushes. What's wrong, baby Tyranitar? Xihen looked in the direction baby Tyranitar was pointing, and a small head peeked out. Isn't that Fennekin? Xihen took out his Pokédex. Fennekin, a fire-type Pokémon, a fox Pokémon. It gets very energetic after eating twigs and can exhale heat exceeding 200 degrees Celsius. Fennekin loves to chew on twigs as snacks. Fennekin is a Pokémon with strong emotional fluctuations, but even when it's very agitated, it will immediately act for its trainer. How come there's a Fennekin here? May came closer, and then the flame-eared fox ran off. You guys prepared dinner first. I'm quite interested in the flame-eared fox's final evolution, Xihen said, chasing after the flame-eared fox, with baby Tyrannosaurus following behind. Seriously, this guy, alright, come on, you know that's just how he is. Seeing May pouting, Gadria smiled and pulled May over. Since Gadria started learning to cook from May, May's tasks had become much easier, but they all carried a lot of Pokémon, and feeding and grooming them had become some of their after-dinner activities. Over here, Xihen saw the flame-eared fox on the hillside and chased after it with baby Tyrannosaurus. Baby Tyrannosaurus Rex quickly followed. Flame-eared fox saw the two of them chasing after her, paused for a moment, and stood motionless on the hillside. The following is from One Piece. The blue-haired woman looked around, finally took out a short sword, and came to Fei Yin's side. When she saw Fei Yin's breathing face, she couldn't help but be stunned for a moment, but then she screamed in fright. Fei Yin suddenly opened his eyes, grabbed her hand and pulled her onto the bed, pinning her down. He grabbed both of her arms and raised them above his head, pressing them onto the bed. Keep in mind that Fei Yin was only wearing underwear at the moment, and the short sword had already fallen to the ground, making a soft clinking sound. What brings you here so late at night? Xihen removed his hand from her mouth, chuckled. She had almost cried out, so Xihen had instinctively covered her mouth with his hand. Her face flushed red, and she stammered. Any girl would have trouble speaking when pinned down by a man wearing only underwear, whom she had never seen before. Xihen, however, smiled. The woman beneath him was Nefertari Vivi. Xihen had recognized her from the moment she entered. She was a year younger than Luffy, so she was only 15 years old, but quite well developed, almost pressed against Xihen's body. Bang! Iron block, clang, the sound of a gunshot and the bullet hitting iron. What? Jerry jumped in surprise. He was certain the bullet had hit the marine. The pirates behind Jerry, about 50 in number, were stunned. They had also seen the bullet hit the Marine. But the next moment, Xihen was already in front of Jerry. "You know, I originally wouldn't have bothered with you." Xihen paused, his gaze falling on the wrecked boat. "But you insisted on causing me trouble." Xihen looked at Jerry again, his sword trembling as he drew it. "What are you afraid of? There are over 50 of us, let's cut him down." As soon as he said this, the pirates behind him also drew their swords, sneering at Xihen. Yes, there were over 50 of them. Xihen's eyes remained calm as he watched them grin foolishly. Finished laughing, Xihen suddenly spoke. "Then die." Chapter 368 Arrival at the Aromatherapy Dojo. Baby Tyrannosaurus, charge. As soon as Xihen reached Fennekin, she launched her attack. Baby Tyrannosaurus charged directly at Fennekin, but Fennekin was incredibly agile, leaping up and performing a backflip before unleashing a fire breath attack on Baby Tyrannosaurus's back. She not only dodged the attack but also managed to hit Baby Tyrannosaurus. Unfortunately, Baby Tyrannosaurus was a rock type, and her attack had little effect. Quite agile, Baby Tyrannosaurus, Rock Smash. As Chaklo's Pokémon, he had mastered the method of controlling falling rocks. Rocks continuously surrounded Fennekin, which desperately dodged many, but was still sealed. "Well done, Stone Edge." Baby Tyrannosaurus jumped above Fennekin and used Stone Edge, rendering Fennekin unable to stand. "I've got you." Xihen ran out of the Pokéball and, after a few moments of shaking, finally captured Fennekin. Baby Tyrannosaurus, carrying the Pokéball, ran back to Xihen. "Good job, you can come back and rest too." Xihen recalled his Baby Tyrannosaurus Rex. He had worked hard all day, so he needed a good rest. After recalling the Baby Tyrannosaurus Rex, Xihen went back. When he returned, dinner was already prepared. "How was it? Did you catch the flame-eared fox?" May asked, sitting down next to Xihen after he returned. "Of course. This little guy is quite agile. Give it to me, give it to me," May shouted, wanting to see the flame-eared fox. Xihen took it out and gave it to her. May hugged the flame-eared fox, clearly liking it. After dinner, the three packed their things and continued their journey to Aroma City. They pitched their tents again that night and rested for the night. They arrived in Aroma City the next morning. Finally Aroma City, May stretched. The reason the three of them hadn't slept well the night before was because the flame-eared fox was so mischievous. It ran around in both tents, keeping them awake all night. "You guys find a hotel to rest first. I'm going to the Aroma City gym." Okay, go ahead, we'll rest first. I'll go to the gym this afternoon." May didn't refuse and followed Rudra to find a hotel. The Aroma City gym is located in the center of Aroma City, in front of a huge tree. Aroma City was built under the guidance of this mysterious giant tree with a history of 1,500 years. This must be the Aroma City gym. Xihen walked to the center of the city. It is indeed a very big tree. Are you here to challenge the gym?" A woman in white clothes walked out of the gym entrance. "Yes, I am." "Is the gym leader here?" "I am the gym leader, Ma Xiu, so she is the gym trainer." Although I looked at the information before, I didn't see a picture of Ma Xiu. No wonder, Xihen didn't finish speaking. No wonder she is so beautiful, and her temperament looks very good, even better than Xiaojur. Speaking of which, Xiaojur is also a model. No wonder, Ma Xiu asked Xihen curiously. "It's nothing, can we have a gym battle? Can you wait until 2 days later?" Ma Xiu asked tentatively. "Oh? Why, you're the Sinnoh champion, Master Xihen, right?" "Yes," Xihen nodded. "I'll be holding a Pokemon fashion show in 2 days. Could you battle me on the runway then?" Ma Xiu's eyes held a pleading look. Okay, someone will be challenging me this afternoon. You can battle her first." Xihen thought for a moment, then turned and waved goodbye. "Okay, thank you," Ma Xiu nodded. If she battled Xihen on the runway, it would definitely showcase the charm of Pokemon fashion. That was Ma Xiu's idea. Xihen called to ask May and the others where they were and told them what was going on. Okay, come back first." "Okay," Xihen replied and hung up the phone. A moment later, he arrived at the hotel. "So, you should challenge the gym this afternoon." You're only helping Ma Xiu because she's pretty," May pouted. "No, I want to challenge the gym with Squidward. Before that, I need to teach him a lesson. To get Squidward to obey, you need to understand what he's thinking." "So you're not coming to the gym battle later?" "Yeah, I'll go to the hotel training grounds or the forest. Honestly. You never come to watch my battles, you'll definitely win. Xihen patted May's cheek, and May immediately calmed down. Honestly, she just couldn't stand him like that. The three of them took another nap. In the afternoon, Xihen went ahead to the forest, and then May and the others went to the gym. Come out, Xihen took out Squidward. As soon as Squidward came out, it looked at Xihen and lowered its head. Why won't you listen? If you don't talk, I'll be in a difficult position. You interrupted my plan. After a long time, Squidward finally managed to utter this sentence. Your plan? Destroy the world. Xihen couldn't help but laugh. What are you laughing at? Seriously, how do you think you can destroy the world? I can. You can't even beat me, yet you want to destroy the world. You've just evolved and gained powerful hypnotic abilities, which has made you arrogant. If you want to complete your plan, you just need to gain power. Right, I want power, then you'd better behave. Xihen punched the evil squid on the head, inwardly complaining. Ouch, this guy's head is so hard. Ouch, the evil squid was in pain after being punched by Xihen. I'll behave, the evil squid said helplessly afterward. Beep beep beep, Xihen's phone rang. What's wrong, Gadria? It was Gadria calling. I've already persuaded May, Gadria said this out of the blue. What's wrong? Xihen raised an eyebrow. What's wrong with this little girl? Hey, see for yourself. Gadria turned on the camera, and Xihen saw that Gadria's clothes were all wet. May's first Pokemon defeated the opponent Sylveon, Gadria said, showing the camera to May and the gym. The gym was covered in burn marks, and the fireproofing system was activated. Xihen had a bad feeling, and sure enough, when the camera switched to the captain's field, Xihen saw Enter-E with 1 foot on a Pokemon. Mashu brought out her second Pokemon, Pinkie Pie, and used Hookup to defeat May's Pokemon. She then immediately brought out Enter-E. Enter-E wins, so the winner is the challenger May. The referee's voice came from the other end of the video. That girl, she always uses the Enter-E she wants. I'll teach that little brat a lesson when we get back. Mashu's gym is going to need renovations again. You scared Miss My XIU. May definitely did it on purpose. Haha. Gadria laughed and hung up the phone, leaving Xihen looking bewildered. Was it my fault? Chapter 369. The gym tournament finally arrives. Why would you use Enter-E in a gym battle? Xihen pinched May's cheek. It'll hurt. After leaving the forest, Xihen returned to the gym and bumped into May and Gadria at the entrance. He grabbed May's cheek and dragged her into the street. Who would use Enter-E in a Pokemon gym battle? I know. Let go. May's cheek was red from being pinched by Xihen. I just can't do anything with you. Xihen let go and rubbed May's cheek. HMPH. May still sulked and wouldn't look at Xihen. Gadria covered her mouth and chuckled, then grabbed Xihen's other arm. If you hadn't come soon, we would have gone to eat, Gadria said, pulling Xihen away. Wait for me. May stopped sulking and quickly chased after him, taking Xihen's other arm. Let's go eat. You really are a little foodie, Xihen muttered to himself. The three of them went to the restaurant together, ate, and then returned to the hotel. They went to the hotel's battle arena for battle training. Actually, their battle training time was after meals every day, otherwise, how could they get stronger? Mashu uses her trick room skillfully. It's a difficult move to deal with, May told Xihen during the battle. It's okay, we can just use Squidward to fight in the gym battles. I've seen the videos. Miss Mashu always chooses a trainer to battle at the fashion show, but no one has ever won. Gadria sat to the side, and Meowth sat on Gadria's lap. They had just battled Xihen and Fennekin. Only one battle is needed, but that'll have to wait until the day after tomorrow. Everyone's exhausted. Let's take them to the Pokemon Center and then come back to rest. Xihen looked at the Pokemon on the field. They were all panting heavily. The newly evolved Noivern had been beaten up by Camo, its sharpness dulled. Okay, Gadria and May nodded, then recalled their Pokemon. Xihen also recalled his Pokemon. The three of them went to the Pokemon Center to let their Pokemon recover their strength before returning to the hotel. The next afternoon, they also wandered around Lavender City. They had stayed at the hotel all morning. Lavender City was full of clothes designed by Masquerade, but Xihen wasn't very interested in them. A black cape was the best choice for them. Gadria wasn't interested either, but May bought a lot of clothes, some that looked like Superior, some that looked like Ninetales, and so on. The third afternoon, the three of them were walking on the street when they met Ash and his friends. Serena had changed her hairstyle and looked even cuter. Long time no see, Serena, May greeted Serena as she saw her. Long time no see. May, haven't you guys challenged the gyms yet? Ash ran up to Xihen and asked. May has already challenged. I'll have to wait until tonight to get the gym badge. Xihen didn't think she would fail and not get the gym badge at all. Why wait until tonight? Ash asked curiously. Anyway, you'll find out tonight. Are you the Sinnoh champion? Xihen, a green-haired boy with glasses, ran over next to Ash, looking at Xihen excitedly. Yes, I am. My name is Shota, I'm your fan. Shota looked at Xihen with starry eyes, even taking out his notebook. Xihen nodded helplessly. None of Ash's followers were easy to deal with. Please sign this for me. Shota opened the notebook to the first page and held it up in front of Xihen. Oh? Isn't this Steven Stone? Xihen took the notebook. The first page had a picture of Steven Stone tucked inside. There was also Steven Stone's autograph next to notebook, so Xihen signed his name above Steven Stone's and handed the notebook back to Shota. Great! Another champion's autograph. Shota was extremely excited. Serena was going to Marie's clothing store next, so Xihen reluctantly went with him. While the girls were looking at clothes, Ash challenged Xihen to a battle, but she refused. So Ash challenged Shota instead, and they went back for a double battle. Shota's Bagon and Woodpecker battled Ash's Battlebird and Froakie. Shota was still a rookie trainer and no match for Ash. Froakie defeated Woodpecker, and when it was time for Bagon to fight, a commotion arose below. A large crowd of girls had gathered at the entrance of the aromatherapy gym, all there to see Marie's fashion show, which meant the show was about to begin. Let's go down too, Xihen said, walking down the street. When did you become interested in these things? Ash looked at Xihen, completely bewildered. Haha, this is Miss Maxiu's fashion show. Miss Maxiu will be battling Xihen here, which is why we've been waiting until today, Gedalia explained to Ash. May, Serena, and Eurydice had gone to look at clothes, but Gedalia didn't want to go. After a fashion show that Xihen found boring, Maxiu finally appeared. It's worth mentioning that Serena, May, and Eurydice had walked the runway before Maxiu, wearing clothes designed by Maxiu. After they changed and returned, Xihen had already leaped onto the runway, ready to start the battle. It's Master Xihen, it really is Master Xihen, oh my god. Why is Master Xihen here, as the youngest, richest, and most powerful Pokemon trainer, the Sinnoh champion, and a Pokemon master of spectacular style? Xihen had a large following of female fans in the Kalos region. Squid, go! Xihen smiled helplessly and took out Squid. Ah! It's that evil Squid, Eulogia shouted. That evil Squid was a nightmare for Ash and his friends. Come on. Pinkie Pie, my Xiu still took out her Pinkie Pie. Xihen complained inwardly. I waited for 3 days, watched a boring fashion show, and then Ash, this plague, showed up. I encountered a troublesome trainer, all to defeat this little thing, Pinkie Pie. Evil Squid, quick attack, Pinkie Pie, dodge and then use magic illumination. Pinkie Pie flew up, making the evil Squid's quick attack miss. She was very fast. Then she used magic illumination in midair. It was hard to see what happened, but it looked very cool. The evil Squid was disturbed by the magic illumination and fell to the ground, but quickly flew up again. Grab her. Use Psychic. Xihen didn't hold back anymore. Pink Fragrance was caught by Psychic and couldn't break free. Slam her to the ground, then use Shadow Ball. The Squid would receive the order and slammed Pink Fragrance onto the runway. Shadow Ball followed closely, hitting her. Seeing that Pink Fragrance was still struggling, Xihen had the Squidward use Time Warp, instantly defeating her. Why didn't Miss Maxiu use Trick Room? May asked Gadria curiously. Huh? She realized Gadria was gone. Gadria had received a phone call and run out first. Trick Room slows down fast Pokemon and speeds up slow Pokemon, but Squidward was much slower than Pink Fragrance, so using it would only harm itself. Chapter 370, Catlia leaves the team. Although my Xiu lost to Xihen, she still won the praise of a group of people. The clothes she designed looked great in the battle and were very well represented. However, Xihen was curious about my Xiu's clothes. They always made it seem like she didn't have hands. Because May wanted to travel with Serena, Xihen had to wait another day until Ash played in the gym battle the next day before he could travel with him. That evening at the hotel, Gadria ran to Xihen's room. Xihen, I have something to tell you. What is it? Xihen sat up in bed, leaning against the headboard. My family suddenly got me engaged. They just called and told me to go back. I didn't tell them I was traveling with you. Engaged? Xihen was completely bewildered. Even though Gudrya didn't appear often in the original story, there was no mention of an engagement. Then, are you going back? I have to go back, but I want to give myself to you, Gudrya said, kissing him. Xihen instinctively tried to dodge, but Gudrya seemed determined to give him her first time. Reluctantly, Xihen accepted Gudrya's advances that night. The room was well soundproofed, so May knew nothing. Gudrya left at night, and Xihen didn't sleep a wink. The next day, Ash and the others went to challenge the gym, while Xihen slept at the hotel. May came in the morning asking where Gudrya was, and Xihen told her that Gudrya had gone back first. Actually, Xihen was thinking of going back with Gudrya to cancel the engagement, but he was already married to Cynthia, and going would inevitably be awkward. So Xihen was in a dilemma. In the afternoon, Ash and his friends came to find Xihen, ready to leave. Where's Miss Gudelia? Ash entered the room and only saw Xihen eating some kind of meal. Gudelia was nowhere to be seen. She had to leave. Shall we go too? May ran over and asked. Yes, Xihen nodded, picked up his shoulder bag and slung it over his shoulder, then put on his black cape. I've packed your things too. Xihen handed May her small bag. Xihen and his group went downstairs to check out of the room and prepared to head to the next city. We're going to Bake City to challenge the Bake Gym, Ash exclaimed excitedly at the mention of the gym battle. Before that, we have to pass through Snowwind Town, where there's a Triple Crown satellite battle, and I want to participate, Serena said. No matter how excited they were, Xihen only nodded. He was thinking about Gudelia. However, Gudelia. I really don't want to marry the person you're talking about. Gudelia defied her parents for the first time. But you came back and didn't even know who you were engaged to, and you're already refusing, Gudrya's mother said to Gudrya. I said no. I already have someone I love. I've already given myself to him. Gudrya looked at her mother, who was stunned by Gudrya's words. She naturally understood what Gudrya meant. You child? Gudrya's father seemed to want to slap her, but his hand stopped in his tracks. Gudrya closed her eyes in fright. Looks like I'll have to lock you up, Gudrya's father said, and the butler came over, took Gudrya back to her room, and locked her inside. Xihen. I won't get married. Gudrya sat on the floor, head down, thinking. What should I do now? That person definitely won't accept an incomplete Gudrya. It seems, there's no way out. Gudrya's father seemed to have a headache. But if we don't cooperate with their company, we'll go bankrupt. Gudrya's mother was very anxious. After all, this was no small matter. Katla was being used as a tool in their business dealings. For the sake of business, they were going to marry her off to someone she didn't even know. This was the tragedy of wealthy families. Girls could never choose the person they loved. Katla's father didn't know what to do. He had strayed into territory beyond his control and was on the verge of bankruptcy. Partnering with that company was their only option now. I'll try again. I'll call and ask. Xihen was traveling with Ash and his friends towards Encyclopedia City. A group of people were gathered around a Notabit, a newborn that Battlebird had found during training and which Ash and his Pokémon had hatched. The little guy started crying as soon as he appeared, apparently hungry. Noivern bats love fruit, so the group searched everywhere for some, but found a bunch that were all unripe. Noivern bats have the ability to tell if fruit is ripe. Finally, May found some fruit that Noivern bats could eat. After eating his fill, Ash's Noivern bat tried to fly again, but it kept falling down. Generally, even newborn Pokémon can fly, but Ash's just couldn't. It seems Ash's Pokémon are all quite unique. A beautiful day was wasted on training Noivern bats to fly, because Yuuki was training his Pokémon nearby, and Team Rocket, hiding to the side, didn't dare to interfere. Finally, Yuuki couldn't stand it anymore and had Noivern train Noivern. Although Noivern seemed to have some trouble, it finally got a little guy to fly. The group headed to Bake City again. Who's the gym leader in Bake City, Gudelia? As they walked, Xihen suddenly asked, then paused, shook her head, and smiled. The gym leader in Bake City is Georgina, who uses psychic Pokémon. May looked at Xihen, then took out her phone to check the information and said to him. Xihen nodded, looking somewhat disappointed. On the way to Snowwind Town, they encountered the Pokémon Relay Race, a competition where 3 flying Pokémon team up to fly. The race was to be held tomorrow. Xihen wasn't interested, but Ash wanted to participate, and May wanted to participate too. You want to participate, but do you have a flying type Pokémon? Xihen asked May. This little girl didn't even have a flying-type Pokémon, how could she participate? Yours, huh? Xihen raised an eyebrow helplessly. He knew this would happen. Noivern, and Squidward, it can fly, and there's another one. You don't expect me to bring a Veltal to participate in this kind of competition, do you? Can't you get some Pokémon from the gym? Okay. Really, you little brat, Xihen patted May's head. He really couldn't do anything with her. Then he got Valor and Staraptor from the gym, and lent these 3 Pokémon to May for the competition. On the second day of the competition, Xihen watched from the sidelines. The first round was the sprint race, and May gave it to Valor. Valor's golden feathers alone were stunning, and its speed was even faster, leaving everyone behind in an instant. The second round was the rock obstacle race, and it gave it to Noivern. Noivern took off first, but Altaria followed behind. A pumpkin sprite ran out of Altaria's body. It was Team Rocket's pumpkin sprite. Chapter 371 The Powerless Catletta. Pumpkin's second baton was passed to Pelipper. The Pelipper caught up with Noivern and rammed into it, trying to shake it off. However, Noivern, unable to resist, unleashed a flamethrower, revealing Noivern's true form, a machine piloted by Meowth. Team Rocket was eliminated. Ash's Battlebird used the rocks to catch up with Noivern. Following Battlebird was a Staraptor. Noivern wasn't as fast as them, but still reached the finish line a little ahead, passing the baton to the third baton runner, Staraptor. Staraptor was very fast, much faster than Ash's Noivern and another Staraptor. Despite encountering strong winds, it still came in first. Staraptor's trainer came in second, Ash came in third, and May won the trophy. Afterwards, Yuki had Pidgeot carry the trophy and put it in a Pokeball, then switched back to her Pokémon. The group continued their journey to Snowdrift Town, stopping at the Pokeball factory along the way. Upon arriving at the entrance, they encountered 3 strange individuals claiming to be the factory manager, deputy manager, and secretary. Regardless of whether they were actually Team Rocket, the secretary's ugliness alone made it clear they were imposters. The disgruntled Xihen promptly blasted them away. The 5 of them entered the Pokeball factory. Come to think of it, how could such a large factory be empty? The 5 strolled around as if it were their own backyard. The machines were still running. Passing a door, they heard noises inside. It turned out that the people inside had been kidnapped by Team Rocket, such a large group, all kidnapped by Team Rocket's 2 members and their Pokémon. Because they had been rescued, the factory offered Xihen and his group a tour. Xihen even bought some Pokeballs at a high price, but he also bought one of their Master Balls. After spending the night in a factory bed, they arrived in Snowdrift Town the next day to have Serena participate in the Triple Crown Satellite Tournament, a grand event for young girls. So how could Yuki possibly participate? May didn't participate either, because she was afraid of the hassle. The tournament was basically about winning a princess key. Only trainers who collected 3 keys could qualify for higher level competitions, and only the champion could be called the Kalos Queen. The first round was making Beauvoir. The first group included Serena's rival, Milif, and his Pokémon, Slimmy. Because Slimmy had a very sensitive nose, Milif had her train the seasonings, and Meowth's psychic powers were also used in the cooking. So, Milif was the one who passed the first round. The second group. Although Armed had dressed up quite well this time, Yuki still recognized him. To be fair, Armed's outfit was pretty good, and in the end, Jessie won. The third group was Serena's group. Even without watching this part, everyone knew Serena would win. Compared to the first 2 groups, the other 2 in Serena's group were also quite strong, but in the end, Serena still won. Xihen lost interest in watching any further and left, going to the garden in Snowwine Town to call Gadria, but he couldn't get through. Meanwhile, on Gadria's side. Why won't you listen? I finally managed to talk to him, I've already said it. I won't marry anyone else. Gadria still refused to listen to her parents tell her who she was going to marry. She was in her room, barely eating. Before, her parents had locked her up, now she was locking herself up. Gadria. Open the door. We need to talk. Gadria's mother gently knocked on the door. After a moment, Gadria finally opened the door and let her mother in. Then she closed the door. Gadria looked very haggard, she hadn't eaten properly for days and hadn't taken care of herself. She looked much more haggard than before when she traveled with Xihen. After closing the door, Gadria huddled in the corner, hugging her legs and burying her head in them. Gadria's mother watched, her heart aching. Actually, we didn't want this either. Gadria's mother walked to her side and patted her shoulder. Your father got involved in the Pokémon black market. He was scammed, and the family is going bankrupt. We had no choice but to ask that person for help. Their company is the biggest investor in the Pokémon black market, so you're making me marry that boss? Gadria's eyes, buried in her legs, began to tear up. She was being forced to marry an old man for the sake of her family? Yes, marry his son. Gadria's mother paused for a moment, then said. This is all for the family. Gadria, you understand, right? Gadria's tears flowed uncontrollably, her body convulsing and trembling. She was completely helpless. Even if she wanted Xihen to help her family become wealthy, the people from the Pokémon black market would still cause trouble, and her family wouldn't have an easy time either. I understand. It took Gadria a long time to stop crying, but she still didn't lift her head. Gadria's mother, seeing her like this, also shed tears. Gadria's mother came out of Gadria's room, where Gadria's father was still waiting. How did it go? I've talked to Gadria and she's understood. Poor child, I'll call them to confirm the meeting time, and then Gadria will come. Meanwhile, in the Pokémon Triple Crown Satellite Tournament, Serena emerged victorious, obtaining her first princess key. Some people embarked on their journey to 100 City once again. On the way, seeing that it was about to rain heavily, Serena found a restaurant ahead on the electronic map, and the group quickened their pace towards it. The hotel was large, but dilapidated inside, seemingly poorly managed. Upon entering, there was only an old man at the front desk. The old man led Ash and his friends to their room. Yuki and Mei were in another room. The hotel kept flashing lightning inexplicably in some places, which Yuki found strange. Later, she heard Ash and his friends knocking, saying they wanted to go to the hotel's battle area for Pokémon battles. Mei wanted to go too, so Yuki followed them. When they arrived, a crocodile was battling a Pandaren. When the Pandaren lost, the so-called hotel owner, who was using the crocodile, took the Pokéball. So this is a Pokémon battle, Yuki frowned, looking at the owner, recalling his previous battle with Xiud. Hey! Give him back his Pokémon? Ash, always one to meddle, ran over, only to be challenged by the owner to Pikachu if he lost. This kind of battle. I won't accept it. If you want to battle, I'll do it. Xihen patted Xiaozi's shoulder. Xihen, this kind of battle, if you lose, return everyone's Pokémon, and the restaurant is mine. Xihen casually pulled out a Pokéball. Alright, come on. Go, Crocodile, you seem very confident in your thuggish evil, let me tear him to shreds. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 372 The Torn Rogue Crocodile. Crookie, the restaurant owner was about to collapse. That was a Pokémon? It actually tore his Crookie to pieces. Xihen casually scooped out Camo's Pokéball, and Camo directly ripped his Crookie into pieces. The owner sat on the ground, looking like he'd wet his pants. I'm really sorry. Xihen walked up to him, bent down, and looked at the owner. I'm in a bad mood right now. After saying that, he turned to leave, but then suddenly turned back. By the way, I don't like being threatened. After saying that, he kicked the owner in the face, and the owner passed out. Everyone around had already run away when the Crookie was torn to pieces, leaving only Ash and his friends, along with Mei, standing there in a daze. Come back, Xihen recalled Camo and walked to Mei's side. Xihen, Ash looked at the pieces of the Crookie. What's wrong? Isn't this a bit too much? This restaurant isn't his, and I'm really in a bad mood right now. Not his, Ash and the others said in confusion. Such an arrogant person couldn't possibly afford to build such a big hotel. Then who owns this hotel? Mine. An old man walked in. He was the same old man who worked at the front desk. That happened 10 years ago, when the hotel first opened. A battle arena was set up here for guests to use for duels. This guy challenged the owner's Rodham to duel, with the hotel as the wager. The owner actually agreed, wagering the hotel against him. But Rodham ran away, and the hotel became the thugs. I'm giving the hotel back to you. Don't be so cowardly in the future, Xihen said, and then left. Mei quickly followed and grabbed Xihen's arm, walking away with him. I feel like I've seen Xihen like this somewhere before. Xihen muttered to himself. During the time Mei was dead, Xihen was like this too, but after Ariel left and Mei was resurrected, Xihen and the others forgot about that period. Xihen and Mei went back to their room to sleep. Before that, they still couldn't get through to Gadria on the phone. I feel like something happened to her. How could that be? It's just a little thing at home. I've been calling her these past few days. If it were really just a small matter, she wouldn't be completely unresponsive. Xihen put down her phone. Then what should we do? Maybe we should go check on her. Xihen frowned and said. Then let's go check on her. Mei moved closer to Xihen and hugged her. You can go wherever you want. Let's go tomorrow. After that, the two went to sleep. A little while later, Xihen and the others also went back to their room to sleep. The next morning, the group set off on their trip again. Xihen still felt uneasy about what happened yesterday, and he looked at Xihen strangely. Don't look at me like that. I'm going to Unova now, and I won't be with you guys. Xihen looked at Xihen's eyes, and they seemed familiar. Going to Unova? I suspect something happened to Katla. I need to go to her house. What happened to Miss Katla? Serena asked. Anyway, before Xihen could finish speaking, a circle of light suddenly appeared next to Ash. Ash was pulled into it, and then the circle disappeared. Huh? Xihen rubbed his eyes, making sure he wasn't mistaken. Ash really disappeared? Ash, Serena and the others were startled. What was going on? I've included Hoopa's storyline here. What was that? Mei raised an eyebrow, and the group began searching for Ash. But they couldn't find him. However, a moment later, circles of light appeared again, dragging Serena, Clement, Eurydice, Xihen, and Mei into them one by one. Ouch! Xihen fell to the ground with a thud, suddenly being dragged away. Anyone would panic for a moment. Xihen shook his head to clear his head and looked around. They were in a pavilion. Ash and the others were around. What's going on? That's Hoopa. He brought us here. A Pokémon was flying around Ash, grinning, but Xihen didn't recognize it. Mei took out her Pokédex, but it only had a question mark on it, no information about him. Where is this? Let me see. This is Desert City. Serena took out her electronic map, which showed Desert City as the location. This is Myri. She seems to be Hoopa's trainer, Ash said, looking at a girl beside him. I'm not Hoopa's trainer, I'm just taking care of Hoopa. We grew up together, Maya said with a smile. Then Hoopa chuckled and ran to Maya's side. Hoopa, Scoop! Little Hoopa took out a halo above its head, reached into it, and pulled out a macaron. No one knew where it had stolen it from. A legendary Pokémon? Xihen looked at Hoopa for a while. It could speak human language, either Meowth or a legendary Pokémon. But this little guy seemed only good at scooping up small things. As for scooping up gold and silver treasures, Xihen wasn't short of money. I already said. I have something to do, so I'll be leaving now, Xihen sighed. Right now, Gadaria's matter was more important. She took out Gardevoir and prepared to leave, but at this moment, a bravery flew in from the sky, with someone sitting on it. His expression is a bit strange. As the bravery got closer, Mei saw the person sitting on it. His expression was blank, as if he had lost consciousness. That's my brother. He's back with a judgment jar. Myri ran over, and Bravery landed in front of her. The person on Bravery's back jumped down, grabbed Hoopa without a word, and opened the so-called judgment jar. Xihen shook his head, indicating boredom. Mei, let's go. Xihen released Gardevoir, grabbed Mei's hand, and was about to leave. A purple light came out of the judgment jar and wrapped around Hoopa. Hoopa seemed to be in great pain. Xihen, who was about to leave, was stunned. What was going on? Under everyone's astonished gaze, Hoopa's body, which was wrapped in purple light, gradually grew larger. It grew 6 arms, and its small body grew to be several stories tall. How did I get here? At this moment, Myri's brother, Balzac, seemed to regain his senses and looked at where he was. Brother, Hoopa, you're strong. Hoopa reverted to its original form, roaring as it emerged, interrupting Xihen who was about to leave. Xihen turned around to look. That's that little thing from before. Hoopa, you're strong. Hoopa suddenly unleashed a hyper beam that struck a nearby pillar, sending fragments hurtling towards Xihen. Gardevoir used Protect to deflect the debris. Alright, you've caught my attention. Xihen pulled out 2 Pokeballs. I'm really in a bad mood. Chapter 373 The Clan That Protects Arceus. Xerneas, Yveltal, take him down. Hoopa was clearly mentally unstable. his eyes glowing red, as if he had gone berserk. He needed to be subdued. Yveltal launched an attack from the air, his petrifying ray, let's call it the petrifying ray, aimed at Hoopa. Hoopa produced 2 light rings, absorbing the petrifying ray, and aimed the other ring at Xerneas, who was running towards him. The petrifying ray emerged from the light ring and struck Xerneas. Xerneas was instantly petrified. Are those Xerneas and Yveltal? Who is he? Myri said, looking at Xihen. This guy is pretty strong. Xihen wasn't worried about the petrified Xerneas. Sure enough, after a moment, Xerneas' horns glowed, and green light waves enveloped him. Xerneas quickly recovered, but was panting heavily. It seems petrification can cause oxygen deprivation. Gardevoir, Mega Evolution, Xihen's wind bracelet glowed, and Gardevoir's bracelet also glowed, the 2 lights connecting to cause Gardevoir to Mega Evolve. Go, Camo, we need to suppress him first. Hoopa, so strong, Hoopa attacked directly, its 6 rings aimed at Xihen, from which 6 shadow balls emerged and slammed into him. Gardevoir, protect. Camo, Hyper Beam, Xihen commanded Gardevoir to use protect, deflecting the 6 shadow balls. Camo flew out, its Hyper Beam attacking Hoopa, but was caught by the rings and redirected towards Yveltal. Yveltal, dodge. Xerneas, use charge, since that attack couldn't hide him, a physical attack was used. Xerneas charged towards Hoopa, and Hoopa used another light circle, causing Xerneas to crash into it. Just as the light circle was about to be withdrawn, Xihen quickly retrieved Xerneas, otherwise, who knows where Xerneas would have been thrown. Quick, give me the judgment bottle. Melee looked at Xihen's smooth battle command, paused for a moment, and then quickly said. The judgment bottle was aimed at Hoopa, and the 2 eyes on the bottle emitted red light, binding Hoopa and making him unable to move. Then Melee opened the judgment bottle, retrieved the purple mist on Hoopa's body, and closed the judgment bottle. Because of the great force, the bottle flew out, but Hoopa had already turned back. Xiaozi ran over and caught Hoopa. That was terrifying, Hoopa said exhaustedly, and then fainted. Serena ran over to grab the judgment bottle, but Balzac stopped her. Don't touch it, this bottle contains something evil. I'm being controlled by it. Hoopa's rampage is probably because of this. Balzac walked behind Serena. Touching it will steal your mind, hehe. At this moment, the bespectacled Clement chuckled. Now is the time for science to create the future. Clement engine, activate. After uttering his classic line, his mechanical arm took out something called a fully automatic lifting machine from his backpack. He said it was a machine made using electromagnetic levitation, and then placed a judgment bottle on the machine. It's unclear what use he has for carrying this thing around. Looks like it might be necessary to stay and observe. Xihen recalled Gardevoir and Camo, and also recalled Yveltal, and walked over to Ash and the others. How scary. At this moment, Hoopa also woke up. It really is because of that pot, it seems to be disappearing, Hoopa continued, trembling. Disappearing, Myri said nervously. So dark, so scary, Hoopa seemed to see itself going berserk again, and closed its eyes in fear. This child needs to rest. In that case, let's go to the Pokémon Center, Serena suggested, then looked at the electronic map. The nearest Pokémon Center is on the other side of the river. Okay, let's go, Ash said, about to leave for the Pokémon Center. But, if Hoopa goes berserk again, it will be like it was 100 years ago? Looking at the destroyed surroundings, Myri said with some worry. 100 years ago? Xihen caught the sensitive word. Hoopa destroyed the town. It happened here 100 years ago? Balza said, looking at the entire desert city. Desel City used to be a very small town. Back then, Hoopa came to this town and ate all the food the townspeople had. The people whose food was eaten were naturally unhappy and shouted for Hoopa to pay them. Hoopa said that to apologize to the angry people, he summoned countless gold and silver gems. Thanks to Hoopa, the town was able to develop, Myri continued, and the group headed to the Pokémon Center, talking as they traveled by boat. Ultimately, Hoopa settled here, feeding on offerings and fulfilling people's wishes. One day, someone asked, "You look quite strong for your size. Can you win against other Pokémon in battle?" Because of those words, Hoopa began battling Pokémon relentlessly, winning every single one. Everyone was happy, but this fueled Hoopa's competitive spirit, and he even summoned a legendary Pokémon. Hoopa, his power surging, began wreaking havoc on the town. Just then, our great-grandfather used the judgment jar to seal Hoopa's power, Balza said, looking at Hoopa. And then he became like this. Myri looked at Hoopa in her arms, and Hoopa chuckled. Surprised, the judgment jar was created at the location of the Tower of Desel, Myri added casually when they saw the Tower of Desel. Afterwards, the group went to the Pokémon Center for dinner. Balza took out the necklace from his chest and showed it to them. Do you know what this shape is, eh? This shape? Ash hesitated for a moment. Ash, have you seen this before? Serena, sitting next to Ash, leaned in and asked. I feel like I've seen this somewhere before. That's the symbol of Arceus, the god of all things. While they didn't know what it was, Xihen looked out the window and said, Arceus, that's it. May took out the encyclopedia and found an image of Arceus. Come to think of it, the encyclopedia didn't have information on Hoopa, but it did have information on Arceus. So that's what it looks like. That's the symbol of Arceus, yes, Balza nodded. Legend has it that our ancestors were connected to Arceus and were given power. My great-grandfather could skillfully wield that power, and you? Xihen looked at them and said, Unfortunately, we can't reach that level, Balza said with some regret. You could say we're still training, May smiled and said. Xihen nodded. They could be considered the guardian race of Arceus, right? Although they didn't possess Arceus himself, they could wield power beyond that of ordinary people. Chapter 374 The Released Evil Shadow. My great-grandfather, who sealed Hoopa's power along with a judgment jar, took Hoopa back to his homeland, the Valley of Creation, where my siblings and I were born and raised. Balza then recounted their experiences in the Valley of Creation. He explained that if Hoopa couldn't understand the meaning of punishment, he couldn't pass through his own aura. After Balza and Myri were born, Hoopa and Myri spent every day together, causing quite a bit of trouble in the Valley of Creation. Young Balza was quite sensible, taking on the responsibilities of an older brother. As they grew up, Balza and Myri's great-grandfather passed away, but Hoopa cherished his time with him. Everyone was very kind, and Hoopa loved everyone. Hoopa said, I thought, since my great-grandfather is gone, it shouldn't matter if Hoopa regains his original abilities, so we began our journey to find the judgment jar, but I never expected it to turn out like this. This refers to Hoopa's rampage. After finishing their meal, the group went to the balcony of the Pokémon Center. There was a round table there, just enough for a few people to sit. While chatting, Balzac said he would take Hoopa and the judgment bottle back to Genesis Valley, but Hoopa was very reluctant. No. It's terrifying. The bottle will make Hoopa disappear. Hoopa seemed very frightened. That's why we need to investigate why that happened. If we can't find the reason, you won't be able to return to your original form. Balzac tried to persuade Hoopa. No. Hoopa doesn't want to return. Now Hoopa would rather be powerless than return to his original form, and it was unclear what he had seen. At this moment, the troublemakers finally appeared. Team Rocket's hot air balloon lowered a hook from the sky and snatched the judgment bottle. We'll take the judgment bottle. With this power-enhancing device, we won't be afraid of that big devil anymore. The big devil they were referring to was naturally Yuki. However, they seemed to believe that the judgment bottle could enhance the power of Pokémon. Meowth reached for the judgment bottle, and Balzac tried to stop him, but it was too late. Meowth has already touched it. Meowth already had the judgment bottle in his hand. Xihen saw the judgment bottle emitting a dark purple light, and Meowth's eyes became glazed. However, Kajiro and Jessie clearly didn't notice, and were still offering to trade Pikachu for the judgment bottle. The glazed Meowth opened the judgment bottle, and Xihen immediately took out a Pokeball, preparing for battle. The dark purple light came out of the judgment bottle again, directly hitting Hoopa. Hoopa struggled to shake off the dark purple light, looking pained. Balzac and Myri emitted yellow light from their hands, aiming it at Hoopa to help him expel the power. It seemed that this was the ability of the Arceus clan. The power was finally expelled, but Hoopa was exhausted, and the judgment bottle was shattered. The purple light materialized and turned into Hoopa's original form. A purple light emanated from his body. What is that? It's anger, that power that wants to devour Hoopa, the anger it feels for being sealed for 100 years. Balzac sensed that power. It wants to devour Hoopa and replace Hoopa, but it is originally Hoopa's power. Myri hugged Hoopa, looking at the purple shadow. It wants to replace Hoopa and become the real Hoopa. It has Hoopa's appearance but it's not Hoopa. That shadow is Hoopa's clone. At this moment, the shadow roared and punched Team Rocket away, sending them flying through the light circle to who knows where. After knocking Team Rocket away, the shadow roared at Xihen and the others. Disappear. The shadow seemed to only have Hoopa in its eyes, shouting at Hoopa. No. Hoopa, Don't disappear. Little Hoopa didn't dare to back down and roared at the Shadow Demon, so the Shadow Demon began to attack, condensing a hyper beam in front of its chest. Yveltal, hyper beam. Xihen took out Yveltal and also used the hyper beam. The two hyper beams clashed. You hurry up and go, I'll hold this guy off. Xihen, you go with him too, Ye called to Xihen, and Xihen said to Ye, Hoopa, go get him. As they were about to leave, Hoopa took out its halo and summoned the sea god Lugia. Hoopa summons a powerful helper for Xihen. Alright, you guys hurry up and go. Actually, Xihen was thinking that he might be able to subdue Lugia while he was at it. Hoopa, the Shadow Demon roared, unleashing another hyper beam. Xihen discovered that this guy could also ignore the hyper beam stun effect. Lugia, roar. Lugia fired a high-pressure water jet, and Yveltal unleashed a petrifying ray, repelling the evil shadow. Alright, let's go now. Balzac, being quite sensible, led the others and Hoopa away first. May glanced at Xihen worriedly, then stayed behind. Please, Entei. May took out Entei to help Xihen. Since she had the ability to help Xihen, why not? Why are you being disobedient? Looking at May behind him, Xihen pinched May's little face. I don't want to leave you alone. Remembering when Xihen was severely injured in a battle with a legendary Pokémon, May couldn't leave him here alone. Really? Xihen looked impatient, but affectionately patted May's little head. Ash and his friends, who had escaped, decided to go to Desol Tower to remake the punishment bottle. However, they needed earth, water, and fire-type Pokémon. Ash had Froakie for water, and Serena had Fennekin for fire. As for earth-type Pokémon, they didn't have any. Fortunately, Eureka remembered the strange hippopotamus in the desert and summoned it using Hoopa's aura. He got away. Xihen's situation wasn't good. Flame Emperor, Yveltal, and Lugia had teamed up, but Evil Shadow escaped through the aura. Ironically, while Hoopa himself couldn't pass through the aura, the evil Hoopa could. This is bad, let's chase after him. May recalled Flame Emperor, and Xihen had him sit on Yveltal while she jumped onto Lugia. Lugia was docile and didn't resist. What happened? A voice suddenly sounded in Xihen's ear. Snake? You're awake. Perfect, I need you. I just woke up and you're already giving me this trouble. Snake sighed in dissatisfaction. Following you is just a miserable fate. Hoopa, Punishment Hoopa, a Pokémon characterized by its two horns and the golden rings around its body. Hoopa's rings have the ability to distort space, allowing it to place things far away or bring them to you. Unleashed Hoopa, the true form of Hoopa after it has been sealed. It is characterized by a much larger body than its sealed form, additional rings, and 6 arms. It is said to use its space-distorting rings to steal everything. Chapter 375 The Divine Beasts Gather once again. Hoopa found Ash and his friends through the aura. Because of its large size, Xihen and the others quickly caught up with it. Xihen released Rayquaza and jumped onto its back. Lugia used the legendary bird attack to knock Hoopa away, covering Ash and his friends. Is that Rayquaza? Who is he? The Balzac siblings still didn't know Xihen's identity, even though they saw so many legendary Pokémon. You're not getting away this time. Ash decided to use the aura to go to the Desert Tower, Desol Tower, but Hoopa couldn't get through, so they decided to let Hoopa hide first. Ash naturally stayed behind with Hoopa, leaving Froakie, wasn't it called Froakie in the previous chapter, with Balzac and the others. They passed through the aura and arrived at the Desert Tower. Rayquaza, Flamethrower, Yveltal, Hyper Beam, Xihen and May launched an attack together, and Lugia also used a high-pressure water gun, directly smashing the shadow into a house, causing panic among the passers-by. Although the shadow was being attacked, it kept trying to grab Hoopa using its aura, but Ash dodged it every time. Annoyed, the shadow created 6 auras around Ash to try and grab Hoopa. Lugia flew over and caught Ash and the others, escaping Hoopa once again. You're really tough. Xihen and Rayquaza flew over helplessly, knocking Hoopa away. This guy is just a clone, we can't do any harm to him, Rayquaza said to Xihen. I knew it. Xihen had more or less guessed it. It was indeed true. The shadowy figure once again pierced through the aura, blocking Lugia's path. Lugia accidentally tumbled onto the rooftop of a building, throwing Ash, Pikachu, and Hoopa off as well. Hoopa seemed annoyed with Lugia and began battling it, summoning an aura in the process to try and send Lugia away. Xihen reacted quickly, throwing a Master Ball. Rayquaza, moving at incredible speed, caught a Master Ball as it fell into the aura. This is an unexpected delight, Xihen murmured, looking at the Master Ball in his hand. Come forth, Lugia. Xihen released Lugia again. Wow, Xihen saw Hoopa in the air. He had used all his auras, 3 in total, to summon Xihen, and the largest aura had even summoned a Rayquaza. Xihen wasn't surprised by what he had summoned. What surprised him was that Rayquaza was carrying someone, God-feathered Tsuyoshi. Huh? Rayquaza? How did you get out here? Where is this? Shinryu Changai looked completely bewildered. He was still at the Shinryu Hotel. How did he suddenly end up here? And riding Rayquaza. This guy has always been inside him, never saying a word to him. How did he get out now? Originally, a black Rayquaza was summoned, but I changed it to a regular Rayquaza here, cousin. Shinryu Changai looked around and saw Xihen on another black Rayquaza. How did you manage to get this guy out? Xihen looked helpless. Don't ask so many questions, just focus on the battle. Xihen glanced at him, then continued to stare at Xihen. Hoopa and Ash rode Latias, flying around in the air. Several legendary Pokemon fought Hoopa together. 5 Dragon Pulse attacks plus a Hyper Beam, but Xihen was still unharmed. Ash! You guys take Hoopa and run. This guy is a clone, he can't hurt you, Xihen shouted at Ash, urging him to run. Shinba, you keep an eye on them. Okay. Shinba and Rayquaza ran with Ash, while Xihen and Mei fought Shadow again. Shadow completely ignored Xihen and the others, chasing after Ash and his friends. Xihen had no choice but to follow, beginning an aerial chase. Shadow then passed through the rings again, blocking Ash's path and summoning 3 storms that enveloped him. Latias, use Psychic. Ash handled the situation well, using Psychic to shatter the storms. The 3 storms exploded in midair, and Ash and his friends only squinted. Well done, Xihen praised, coming to Ash's side. Shadow's 6 rings floated in the air, and Shadow roared at them, as if something was about to emerge from the rings. I have a bad feeling. Xihen swallowed hard, then saw a head emerge from the halo. Dialga. Next came Palkia, Groudon, Kyogre, Kyurem, and Giratina, all enveloped in dark purple light. This isn't going to be fun. Xihen raised an eyebrow. Right now, he only had Yveltal, Xerneas, Rayquaza, the newly captured Lugia, and Camo to deal with them. Honestly, it was going to be quite difficult. It's them. Viper looked at them, narrowing his eyes. Huh? Xihen looked down at Viper. They were your original Pokemon and your father's original Pokemon, but because of the power of Evil Shadow, they are now under his control. So, these are all my own Pokemon? Lugia is the leader of the legendary bird Pokemon. When they fight, Lugia is the only Pokemon capable of suppressing their endless conflicts. Like the 3 legendary birds, Lugia has the ability to control the weather, creating and calming storms. It is said that the slightest flap of Lugia's wings can cause hurricanes that destroy cliffs. When Lugia flaps its wings, it can cause storms that last for 40 days. Lugia is intelligent, and due to the immense impact of its powerful abilities, Lugia sleeps alone in the trench. Latias has the ability to share vision, which allows Latias and those standing next to it to see what Latias is seeing. Latias likes trainers with compassion and opens its heart to them. Latias can sense the location and mood of its companions through telepathy and has the ability to understand human language. Latias lives near water. Latias is also the only known Pokemon that can learn the move Clean Glow. Latias has the ability to cover its entire body with feathers that can refract light, making itself invisible or changing its appearance. Latias can also use its feathers to perform its signature move, Mist Ball. Latias is highly intelligent and can understand human language and communicate with humans through telepathy. Rayquaza is best known for its ability to calm ancient Pokemon like Kyogre and Groudon during battles. It can unleash a variety of devastating attacks from its mouth. Despite its massive size, its slender and coiled body allows Rayquaza to fly at astonishing speeds. It is also known for its ability to fly so high that it becomes completely invisible from the ground. Rayquaza's favorite air component is ozone, which it releases during hibernation. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.